Bashers. It is Classic Bashers Friday night in the studio. How are you guys all tonight? Great to see everyone who's showing up. I know a lot of you are over on Who Needs a Drink or on some other stream, but hopefully you'll all come in soon. It's great to see you. I see that Mr. Glenn Parker is in at number one. Glenn Parker, that's easier to rhyme than so many others. So you're going to get Glenn Parker, please send me an email. And you know where to do that, right? At basherdirk@gmail.com. That is basherdirk@gmail.com. And you'll get your Basher of the Day song, as everyone gets when they're number one in the chats. RP1960 from yesterday. That is RP1960. Please also send me an email because I don't have yours. I have most of your emails, but I don't have yours. Please send me an email at basherdirk@gmail.com. That's basherdirk@gmail.com so that I can send you the Basher of the Day song. I recorded it last night, so it's all there. And I sent one to Dave, Fahrenheit 451, because he got one the day before. Sometimes I'm a little late with them, but sometimes I'm quick. I got them both done last night after the show. So please send your emails to me right away if you can, so I can send that to you. You deserve it. You're the Basher of the Day. Da 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 da. You know where I stole that melody from. Ba-dum bum. Melly C is in at number two. Melly C, so close, so close. Happy Friday, Dirk, and all the Bashers. Happy Friday to you, darling. Melly C, Mork, and Mindy. Great to see you guys. How are you? Rufus is here. Dance like you're re-gun and no one's looking. Oh, gosh, that whole thing. Oh, boy, what a mess. I'm happy to see that breakdancing, though, was removed from the Olympics. Come on. There's so many stupid things in the Olympics right now. Why don't they have Olympic singing right now? Olympic guitar playing. We could have Ingve and, all the shredders, and they can just go and bore the crap out of everybody. And I mentioned Rick Beato's show the other day. I'm sure a lot of you know who that is. He's one of the biggest music YouTubers, a couple of million subscribers, and he was talking about why do we like gymnastics and bobsledding and all these we like fast things. We like daredevil things. I don't know, breakdancing, while beautiful and incredible, and God knows I can't do it. Is that a sport? Is it sport? I've gone on the record saying that I don't like team sports in the Olympics. I like, warrior against warrior, like tug of war. I think of the ancient games. There's so many things on there, like hockey and basketball. I just think that Olympic baseball, oh God. And I love baseball, don't get me wrong. However, it just doesn't seem very breakdancing. I mean, that whole curling thing with the ice and the broom, and it's just so stupid. What are we doing? What's going on here? Who lobbied so hard that they got that in the Olympics? Silly gooses all. Titesh says, I missed number one again. Darn, upvote at number 4. Well, thank you so much. Please upvote and subscribe if you can. Now that I've got the full reins on the show, I get to see what's going on, and there's issues. There's issues on the channel. Like it lingers around the same number forever and ever, and then it goes up +2, -2, and then I looked at the analytics, and it's just very weird stuff. So we'll figure it out eventually. Hiteshi, upvote all. Thank you very much, Hiteshi. You're the best, man. Thank you. And Franco Fiore, enjoy part 2 of the Ush and Dirk doubleheader. Yeah, he's coming on the show soon. He's bringing John along. I went to the museum in Brooklyn today with my father-in-law. We had a boys' morning out, and we went to the Brooklyn Museum of Art to go see the Paul McCartney photography exhibit, which was great. Now, he got me the giant coffee table book for my birthday, and I love, as you guys know, I love the Beatles. I think every musician in the world loves the Beatles. It's not possible to not like them because they pretty much invented everything we love. And there was stuff in the exhibit that's not in the book, and I thought it was fascinating. So I didn't get a chance to see, because then afterwards we went out to a restaurant and I had an omelet, and eggs just put me to sleep. So Dirky took a nappy this afternoon, so I'm having some coffee, and for the second hour I'll open up a bottle of Pomerol. I love a good Pomerol. I've never had this particular kind before, so we'll see how it is. This is Doppio. Duh. Great. Andrew Olguch is in the room. Hey, buddy boy. I should be home by 6. I hope you're home now. Upvote and subscribe, everyone. Have an amazing weekend and make someone smile. And let's start off like we always do with Mr. Wolkowicz and the Super Chat Gong. Glenn Parker says at Hitesh C, I got number 1 by pure chance. See, that's how it happens. It's all the luck of the draw. I came on to set a notification for my friend. Well, look at that. And you're number 1. The best of the day, Glenn. I'll write it after the show. Send me your. Oh, you got it. Hey, great. There's your email. I have it. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Glenn. Ken Furby's in the room. Hey, Ken, how are you? Hello. When's date number 2, pal? When is date number 2 happening? Let us all know. Hello. I mean, because we're all so boring. So maybe you could give us some excitement in our doldrums. Hello, everyone. Time to bash it up. Let's bash it up. That's a great title for a new song. Let's bash it up. A new, just general theme, right? We'll have to get the incomparable Emmett O'Malley in on that one because no one bashes it up better than he does. He's a metal maestro. And it's funny because, that guy, he's obviously an amazing guitar player, incredible musician, and all that stuff, married to the most beautiful girl in the world. All those great things. His kids are amazing. Everything is great. Life is perfect. And out of nowhere, that guy's one of the coolest metal musicians I've ever heard. He comes up with the chunkiest stuff, and he's not was never in the metal game, likes it, some of it. But, it's very, very kind of not avant-garde, but a progressive hard rock band. I always called him more of a landscape architect when it comes to guitar playing because he never showboats. In the band, he never showboated. He never did all that stuff that he can do. Who knew? I didn't know he could. I didn't know it. But when he does do it, it's just like, oh, it's so tasty and amazing. So I like that time. Let's bash it up. Ken Furby. Nice one, Glenn. They all count. They do. Oh, look who's here. It's Ray. For blank's sake, far too much going on tonight. Jesus, glad I left. Well, here you are. 10th to thumb up. It's great to see you in the room because we've been waiting. We want to see, you saw what all the bashers did for you this week. Everybody wished you a happy birthday. Everybody wants you to stick around. You can be a silent partner. It doesn't matter. You could be any of those things. Here's my sister. She says she's waiting. Dave Fitzsimons is here in the room. Geez, TFI Friday. Whoop, whoop. Let's bash it up, Dave Fitzsimons. You're one of the best. Hiteshi, breakdancing one and done. Yeah, isn't that a shame? I mean, listen, whose idea was that? Whose idea was it to start breakdance? I mean, what is the delineation between sport and the arts? Sure, there's art in sport. And I guess to some extent there is sport in art if you're competitive, which it should never be. I learned that as a young vocalist. When I came out of the gates, I had a certain style, and then I heard all these other people, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And we used to call them it's like Olympiads. Me and my voice teacher, he said, "Oh, just don't pay attention to those Olympiads." He used to actually say that, Marty Lawrence, and I would play him stuff, from time to time that I was listening to, and I'd be like, I would like to be able to do that. And then he used to have this habit of tapping on the desk, and he'd be like, so tell me why you want to do that. Like, what would you do if you could do that? What would you do with it? Would it be interesting? Or would it just be some superfluous nonsense, party trick? Do you want party tricks or do you want skill? Do you want emotion? Do you want feeling? Do you want pitch? That's why you come to me, because if you want to train like that, you have to get a different guy. And then they started calling them vocal coaches. They were teachers. When I started going to voice lessons, it was a vocal teacher. Then they became voice coaches. And then the sport thing started coming in. I would play in these guys that had, these crazy ranges. I'll never forget when Jeff Tate from Queensryche came out. I was already singing, but I was more like a, Ronnie James Dio, Ian Gillan kind of singer. And not that Ian Gillan wasn't, because it's crazy stuff. Both of them are incredible singers. But then there was these guys that like show-offy vocalists. And, you just get competitive. And art should never be competitive. You should, when you're an artist, doesn't matter what your particular milieu is or your discipline. You should just figure out the way to be the best you that you can be. and not have to compete. Because now when you're a break dancer and you're really good at it, and your team or your group or your ensemble or whatever you want to call it, now it's going to be judged against other people. And I know that in clubs that they have like Vogue contests. And has anybody ever seen that movie? I think it's called Paris is Burning. It's where Madonna got the whole idea behind voguing. It was a bunch of like black, very gay dudes, and I mean very gay dudes because they were very gay. And they used to go up to the Bronx, and they would all put on these personas. Like one was like the businessman, and they would do all the voguing. And somehow she caught wind of that early on, when she was amazing at sniffing out the zeitgeist before it became that. She was intuitive. And we were talking, David, my father-in-law, and I were talking earlier about he loves that Miley Cyrus song Flowers. I like it a lot too. I love Miley Cyrus. I think she's tough as nails bitch. I love a tough rock chick. And I just think she doesn't give a you know what. And I was like, she reminds me a lot of young Madonna when Madonna didn't care, but she's technically way more talented. As much as people might like Madonna, and I do, I love not early Madonna. I like mid Madonna, like True Blue, Like a Prayer, I'm Breathless, Erotica, and that's kind of when I checked out. She knew when stuff was going to be fresh and new and exciting, and she nailed it. She was so good at catching the breeze before anyone else felt it, and she was very competitive. And I said something to him that I think was pretty profound, if I'm capable of such a thing. And I said, I found that the least talented people are the most competitive, because they have to be. They have to find a way to shine in the pile. They have to glitter. When you dig up the pile of rocks, you have to be the one with the most glitter on it. And there was a lot of singers far better than she. And she was the one that figured out how to shine the brightest. And that's how I feel about a lot of artists out there. Like Miley Cyrus, she can sing. She doesn't give a hoot. But then there's a lot of crap out there too. And that's the same in a lot of things. In sport, you have to be the best, because that's what it is. You have to be the best. You have to win. It's about winning. Art has never been about winning. So that's my take on the whole thing. Andrew Welkowicz says, how about Olympic texting? Well, I think you might win, my friend, because you send the longest texts I've ever seen, and you do them fast. Do you do that voice to text thing? I try to do that, but it never captures what I'm saying correctly. And I think I'm a pretty good orator. I'm not exactly sure, and I don't have any discernible accent unless I put one on. I think I have pretty much the flattest American accent you could possibly have. Obviously, I can do Irish and New York and all that kind of crap too, but it never seems to go. Always says, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. It's crazy. Dave Fitzsimon says, when can we get a Dear Dirk? What does that mean? Oh shit. Now I get it. Dave Fitzsimon says, when can we get a Dear Dirk segment? Dirk gives life advice. Well, hey man, you might have started a new segment on the show right now. I don't know if I'm qualified for any of that, other than being a pretty steady, solid, listen, the shit that usually happens to me because it's not my fault. I'm not a danger. I do like jumping. I want to jump out of a plane, and I'm a bit of a daredevil with the bicycling that I used to do and that kind of stuff. But I'm pretty level-headed. That's not a bad idea, Dear Dirk. But you'd have to start writing me. You'd have to, if you want to start that, and see if it goes. Let's see if it takes, pal. Send any of your Dear Dirk messages to basherdirk@gmail.com. That's basherdirk@gmail.com. And let's talk about what's troubling you. It can be sent it anonymously. It could be like, Dear User 451. Some of the stuff that you hear people say. There used to be a column in the Village Voice that everybody used to read because it was so scandalous. Now, the Village Voice was a very popular paper in, I guess, for 50 years in New York. It was based in Greenwich Village, i.e. the Village Voice. And there was a guy named Dan Savage who used to do a sex column. And people used to write the craziest things to him. And one time, I'm not going to say the story because it's just unrepeatable. This guy was like, I'm going to start. Oh, okay. So this guy said, Dear Dan, I'm a married father. I'm 41. I'm happily married, heterosexual man. And lately, I found myself going to porno stores. And in the back, they have these rooms where you can watch videos and blah, blah, blah. And I go there now and blank, 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 blank. And everybody's going because it was horrible. And Dan goes, hey, user 451, thanks for the message. My only advice to you is to check yourself into a mental hospital because you're out of your fucking mind. Because it was so bad. It was so bad. So bad. Let's see if we get any Dear Dirk messages, and then I'll have to credit you for the for starting the campaign. I'm always looking for a new segment to do on the show to try to uplift or bring the bashers together. So that might be fun. I don't know if I'm qualified, but thanks for the heads up on that. Ken Furby says, Dirk, well, thank you for your interest. We are texting and we'll get it sorted. There are some complications, but aren't there always? This is true. This is very true, especially when, I mean, I haven't been in the dating world for 35 years, and I'm grateful for that. And I hope, prayed to God that I never, ever have to be in that situation. And I don't think I ever would be for any reason under the sun. I'll just be one of those. If I'm ever alone, I'll just be one of those guys who's found dead with like 50 cats. The gangsters in the room. Guess Oshin's bots don't come here. He doesn't have bots. No bots. Somebody asked me how that works, and I said, I have no idea. Obviously, I don't have them. He doesn't have bots. And if he does have bots, you know how it happens? Somebody who doesn't like him sends them to him to try to screw up his algorithm, which could have been the reason why bashers had some strange subscription issues. It could be, and that's the conclusion we came to, is by association, and because of all that's the reason why now Bashers is my channel now. But he set the channel up and we always did it together, but we changed ownership of the channel simply because he's on the show. Maybe they're sending it his way. Who knows the reason why? I don't understand how any of that works, nor do I care. This is not the place for that kind of behavior or anger. I don't get it. But we'll see what happens now. We'll see if the algorithms change and if everybody's still subscribed. Does everybody still has anybody of late had an issue where their subscription has been pulled? Because a lot of it wasn't these people that we don't know. It was bashers, real bastardos, Basteristi. They were the people who were losing their subscriptions. They would go to the channel, not get the notifications, and then realize they're not subscribed anymore. And it was not of their own doing. So who knows? But thanks for that. Ken Furby, breakdancing is a nonsense. Don't get me started on bogus Olympic sports. Don't get you started. It's kind of crazy. Mard and Bronson are here in the room. Great to see you. iBashers time. It's iBashers time again. Da, da, da. Mars dancing for the next Olympics. I don't even know what that means. Mars dance. Should I look that up? Mars dancing. I don't know what that is. Mars dancing. What does that mean? Mars dance. Oh, it's an English folk dance. Mars dancing is a form of English folk dance. It's based on rhythmic stepping and the execution of choreographed figures by a group of dancers in costume, usually wearing bell pads on their shins and or shoes. Fascinating. I guess it's like Irish step. Why not the whole Irish step dance thing? The lines or drum lines. I know who won the gold medal of that in 2 seconds flat, and it'd be Adrian Mordaunt, the drummer for Mr. North, because he is a master of that. Incredible. Andrew says, yes, I do voice texting very well. See, it goes to show you. And David and I had a conversation earlier today. My father-in-law, we were talking about, I think my next phone is not going to be an Apple device because I'm furious with Tim Cook over this, him wanting to take 30% from any new Patreons who use the Apple platform. So if you're an Apple user and you decide you want to become a Patreon to anyone's channel or endeavor, if you use the Patreon app on your iPhone, Apple gets 30% of whatever you put down. So they're like, well, what you can do is you can increase your prices or you could eat it. That's what Apple said. Apple said to creators, what you can do is you can increase your prices to offset the difference, or you can just eat it. Why should the creators, people who are scrounging around in the garbage cans of life, trying to work for themselves, trying to create, a livelihood, Apple, that's complete bullshit. And I think it's a class action lawsuit, and I think I definitely would be a part of it if it happens. I've got way too many Apple products in my life for them to pull that bullshit. It's like I've been way too dedicated to that company and their whole brand. Everything I have is inside their little chain, so it's bullshit. We're not a fan, Tim Cook. Not cool. Not cool. Afros. Hi from Kilkenny, long-time lurker. Hey, he's been lurking in the shadows. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. Well, welcome to the posting, Afros. It's great to see you. And what is the name of this beautiful baby in your picture? We know the names of everybody's pets. Send me an email to basherdirk@gmail.com. And you don't have to be a lurker. Like I said to everybody, participation is what you want. If you want to say Dear Dirk, or if you have something to say or something to share, I have the Gallery of Bastards, as you guys know. And you can send me anything you want and I'll show it on the show. We'll talk about it. If you have any gripes or any of that kind of stuff, it's cool. It's cool. And please, and welcome to the show, man. So great to see you. It's Afros from Kilkenny. Beautiful. Uh-oh, David Simon's Dear Dirk letter coming your way. Should we start tonight? I need a song though, right? JBB says Dan Savage still does weekly columns in the Chicago Reader and maybe other publications. Isn't that crazy? That's so great. It's cool that you know who he is, man. Look that one up. I don't know if you Google that, if it'll come up, but I'll never forget that it went around where I worked. I worked at a restaurant called El Rio Grande. I bartended there for 24 years. And I remember it was going around. Everyone was getting this paper, and we were all just horrified by it. Management, the owners, everybody. It was crazy. And that kind of stuff. If anybody passed that around now, we'd all be fired. Andrew Wilkowicz, Dear Dirk, when I rush home from work for a hot, soapy shower at the end of my workday, and I'm thinking of Bashers as I lather up, is that normal? Absolutely. Lather up. Kind of crazy shit. Ken Furby says, when this relationship crashes and burns, I'll send my dear Dirk. Well, I'll be here when you're ready for that, pal. Angelo Minichello says, perhaps a wider problem. I have been unsubscribed from at least 3 other channels lately. Okay, so it's not just me. Are these big channels, small channels like me, or what kind of channels are they exactly? I can't possibly know. I can't possibly know. I wonder what happens when you're Mr. Beast or at one of those channels where they have, quadrillions of subscribers. I would imagine that they plus or minus every day. It's a massive amount. Now, Ush has like a 200,000 ish subscriber base. So unless he's looking for that, I don't think he's going to notice it. But you know what? When you go, now that I know how to do stuff like that, you can actually go in there and it'll tell you how many you've lost this month, how many you've gained this month. And it's funny because the last 28 days, I get to see everything in the whole history, all that stuff. It stays in the same spot. I get +3, -3, +3, -3, +3, -3. So it doesn't really budge at all. And I mean, that doesn't make any sense because I'm sure there are some people who want to come on and are they lasting 1 episode, 2 episodes? It's weird. Ken Furby says, steady, Andrew. That's just not even funny. But listen, let me tell you something about our dearest Andrew, the head basher and the cheerleader of the channel and all of that stuff. We've had quite a number of back and forths via text, etc., and a couple phone calls here, there, and everywhere. And he's got a history and he's got a book in him. And I've said to him a million times, And I wonder how many people. I read everybody's books. You guys know that I'm a 3-book a week kind of fella. They're all autobiographies. I just or history or something really fascinating from way back when. But I don't read biographies because they're written by other people and it's speculation and all that stuff. But Andrew's got a book in him. Andrew definitely has a book in him. And I've often thought about that I have an interesting book because I've met so many people over the years and I was in the industry for a long time. And I know there's a lot of wannabe books out there, but there's no never was books or almost was. And so mine would probably be called Diary of an Almost Was because of how many times I came so close to the big record deal or the big hit record or, like on the cusp of stuff. And the people that you meet when it starts to happen is crazy. I'll tell you, for example, when the first Hitman record came out, we had I think I've told you guys or anyone who's around for when I told the story, we signed with a very small German record company that had big distribution, and they had opened up a house in New York City to distribute in America with a big distributor. So we were like, let's start out here and see where it goes, thinking that's the smart move. We had, at this point, had been seen by every major record company and nobody offered us anything. They came every time we played, but they never bit. And we knew it was because we didn't have that hit song. So we made our first record and we had a song called Will You Be There on it. And that was one of the first songs I co-wrote with Jim Bakke in that band, and it was on the record and it started to get airplay in the United States. And at this point, the German record label had left America, so we were now being licensed to another company in New York. But there was a lot of acrimony. There was legal problems and all this kinds of junk. So the week our album came out, it was the #1 most added rock song to radio. So we started getting all these calls and invites to come to radio stations and go to this big thing upstate where there was like all the music industry bigwigs and all these rock stars, because we were being invited into this world. And we went there and the guys in Mr. Big were there, and all the guys from the David Lee Roth band were there. And I remember there's so many, but Neil Sean was there from Journey, and they were all hopping, oh yeah, heard your single, and everybody's schmoozing you up because they're in the business and they want to feel like they know you, or they were in on the inside, the ground floor. And we were, just being courted by so many people. And then all of a sudden managers came out of the woodwork, record labels started coming out of the woodwork. All of a sudden we had a couple of major labels who, you should get out of that German deal. And then the shit hit the fan because the big giant American label wanted to buy us out of our deal. And we were like, this is it, man. We got the song that's got some steam and we've got a lot of people after us. And we have this big major label that wants to buy us out of our deal. And then our German record company wanted $1 million to let us go. And we wound up in German court and stuff. So it kind of fucked up the whole thing. So it came so close. So, and there were so many stories involved with that. And I always say, like my band were almost was. We might have a small little tiny little following in Europe and stuff and God knows where else, but like you could taste it when you can taste the success and what it feels like. And I'm not saying it felt good, but it was really kind of exciting to be one of those people that people want to let in the room. Oh, instead of faking who I used to pretend I was the singer from Iron Maiden and get into the VIP room at the Limelight. And because I kind of looked like him and I used a British accent, and I wound up in a Limelight book as Bruce Dickinson. I made a face, so I looked distorted. We used to scam our way into like cool stuff back in the day. And then you didn't have to do it anymore. You could just go on your own. And the funny story is the girl that busted me at the Limelight for being Bruce Dickinson, she was his publicist. And she asked me, she goes, oh, hi, Bruce. Hi, how are you? I said, hi, what's your name? She goes, my name's Terry. I said, what do you do, Terry? She goes, I'm your publicist. And she goes, don't worry, I won't say anything right now. She goes, but don't do this again. And she wound up becoming our manager for a very short period of time. And she was cool. And then there was a very, very, very uncomfortable situation where she kind of had designs on me because I was young and pretty at the time. And I was like, uh-oh, shit. So you've met Don on the show. Don, who's been on here, who used to be in Hitman. And basically what I did was like, Don, we need to have a conversation. You know, Terry, who's managing our site now? Well, I'm not going to sleep with her. Maybe you could. And he did. Fun stuff in the room, man. Angelo Minikillo, wristwatch revival. I love wristwatch revival, man. I watch that thing. You know what? Sometimes I'll put that up on my TV when I'm cooking and just listen, and then sit down and just watch that whole thing. I love him, and I love the Naked Watchmaker. Ken Furby loves that. Yeah, we all do. It's fantastic. Afros back in the room. Second chat. That's the late and great lamented Joey. Only lurked to get a feel for the vibe of the channel. Happy to join you. Well, welcome, man. And did you send me a name of what is the name? Did you send your name in the chat of what the name is of your beautiful puppy? Mr. Badgas. Greetings, Mr. Badgas. It's been a while since you've been in the chats, man. It's great to see you, brother. Happy Friday. Pumped to bash in. Great to see you, man. Great to see you. Welcome back. Andrew Wolkowicz, Dirk's book, On the Edge of the Bar, Serving the Drinks. And here, oh man, I mean, there's an oath that bartenders take, but it's not the same as the one doctors take, believe me. So at this point in the game, and then after that, the bar thing. I mean, I met so many people and so many. I always said about bartenders, we all knew who you were sleeping with, who you wanted to sleep with, who your wife is sleeping with. We knew all the stuff before you did. And that's the crazy thing. Thanks, Andrew. Travis Watts. Hey, there's a Sheen right now. Mr. O'Malley.
We're a little late.
That's okay. We're just having a chat.
We got heavy over there. Well, not too heavy, but it was a great, interesting conversation. But
what watches is he? What is he thinking about? Is Travis Watts?
We're going to find out now. We didn't get into it. I saved all the best stuff for you, my friend.
Okay, cool.
So let me just email our good friend John the link.
Glenn got the Geddy Lee book from his wife. The Big Bad. Get the Geddy Lee order. I want to get his Big Bad. Did you get Geddy's Big Bad book of bass, Sasheen?
I heard about it. I never got it though.
Okay, well maybe for your birthday, which is coming up. There you go. That's a good idea.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Jeez, I always forget about my fucking birthday every year.
It's coming up.
I actually forgot a couple of my birthdays when I was a kid. Can you believe that? Like it went by, or on the day of. My mother was like, "Whose birthday is it today?" I swear to God, it was someone's birthday.
Is that
I'm
right?
Like, I don't know. Who is it? Oh, shit, it's mine.
Brian Kelly, Artwatch SI. Alpha Foxtrot, haven't seen you in a long time. Hey, Dirk. Hey, Alpha, where you been? And Arya Puthras here. She goes, Alex J wants to know Sheen's real height. What are you, 6 even or 6'1"?
No, I'm 5'11" and something. I stick on shoes, I'm 6 foot.
I mean, you come off much bigger than that. You know that.
It's the hair, man. It's the hair.
It's the hair, yeah. Online, it says you're 38 and 5'9". No, he's not 5'9". You're one of those guys that just seems. I always thought you were about 6'1". I know Colin's like 6'1" or 2".
And Colin is 6. He's 6 feet. In barefoot, he's 6 feet. I'm shorter than Colin by about half an inch. But everybody always thought that I was taller than him.
Really?
I'll show you a photo in a minute.
Your brother's taller than he appears too. You're like your brother's like probably 5'11", though. He says he's 5'10", I think. Emmett, but
I think he's 5'10". Yeah, he's a little shorter.
He says 5'10", but like Paul's 5'9", and he's much bigger than Paul. So I don't know. Yes, I don't know. He's over here. Ushberg LLC. It's Dirkstein, Ushberg and Dirkstein. Have you heard about an accident? Have you heard about it?
I love that.
I know, it's hilarious.
Let me find this photo. I'm finding this photo. It's in my gold sub video.
Some people got in here automatically, and some people did not.
Yeah, some people didn't. I just put the link in my chat on the other thing so they can click on it, but maybe people don't. I just sent the link to John on his email. So he'll get that and he'll be able to come over and we can talk some watches. In the meantime,
got in here.
Autoplay actually works. Look at that. Who knows what the science is behind it, if there is any. This is, let me see. There's a photo here that kind of explains everything. See, now Colin's 6 foot. He's on the left and I'm on the right. Yeah, you can see that. You
Yeah.
can see that. Yeah, sorry. And but there's a photo here that kind of there. Look, I look like the tallest.
Oh yeah. But you're also doing the.
No, I'm standing up straight. Colin's slouching a little.
Yeah, he's slouching. Yeah.
So that's why people always thought I was the tallest in the band, but I'm not technically. Colin's a little taller than me. Yeah.
And Ado is in my camp.
Yeah, Ada's down where you are. Yeah.
So it's Peter Chris. You got 3 guys over 6 feet tall, and then Peter Chris.
All right.
The Johnny Marr book. We were just talking about books and who's got a book in them, And I was telling them about if I had a book, it would be called like Memoirs of It Almost Was, and because I've got some stories, but like most people have a good book in them. Most people
Probably.
do.
Yeah, I mean, most people's lives are kind of interesting.
I'm super interested in people's books. Easy E for Nespresso and watermelons. What? I'll take the Nespresso, but I won't take the watermelon.
You don't like watermelon?
I don't like melon of any kind. It gives me.
Oh, that's interesting. That's right. I've been enjoying watermelon a lot lately.
Sure,
that's what he means.
Let's give you this, baby. And JHB, hey, with your IWC. Happy Friday, gents. Mighty be the hair. Yeah, well, you've got that thick, amazing Irish hair. I have the Chinese lady hair. Pin straight. Like my hair is like, Comanche hair. Thank you so much for that, JHB. Let's give you something even better. The Super Chat husband. Thank you so much for that. Johnny Marr's book. I'd read his book. I didn't know Johnny Marr. Oh, it's a guitar book, though. So, listen, if you're nerdy for that stuff, that's cool, too. But I want to know, like, what makes people tick.
That's only Ibex. You're absolutely right. Watermelon, the one we eat today is a result of the Atoms for Peace project in the 1950s. It was.
Right, I want to know everything because I've never heard of this. What?
Okay, so the watermelon today, that's all beautiful and red on the inside. There was a project back when the world was afraid of the atomic bomb, which they should still be, but for some reason back then they were more terrified of it. Because there was an Atoms for Peace project in the 50s that was promoting useful ways sorry, I'm not articulating myself properly. Ways of using radioactive material and isotopes for good, and it was called the Atoms for Peace project. And one of the things was, by the way, on watches, radium and tritium and so on. There's a great way to use a radioactive isotope for glow in the dark, right? Well, one of the things they did is they put radioactive material in a garden. It was called the Gamma Garden. And they planted, it was like a round garden. They put radioactive material in the center, and they planted fruit and vegetables all around it at various different degrees distance from the radioactive material. The ones that were too close decayed, died of radioactive poisoning. The ones that were too far weren't affected. The ones in the middle mutated. And one of those is the watermelon you eat today.
So what was the watermelon before? It
was way smaller and completely full of seeds, and not rich red, and not juicy like the one. It's selective breeding, unfortunately. That's what it is. Most fruits that today are a result of selective breeding.
Sure.
Apples, carrots, corn. Most things that we consume, if you went back a few hundred years, you probably wouldn't recognize most vegetables or fruit at all. And they'd be very sour or not. They won't taste as nice and sweet as we know today, for these things. Radiated watermelons, yeah. It's the Gamma Garden. It's called the Gamma Garden.
The Gamma Garden. That's horrific.
Isn't that crazy?
Hey, Mr. Bad Guest with 10 balloons. Upvote peeps, more cowbell. I'm glad that I don't like watermelons. And Arya says avocados are only Hass. Those are what. So I know that there's the big California green ones that no one seems to want to buy.
I
Everybody
spoke
wants.
about this last week. You didn't watch my thing from last week. I don't blame you. It's 2 hours of me waffling. I spoke about this last week, so maybe he's bringing that up. They're Haas. It's Rudolf Haas. That was an
Okay.
experiment also. That was
Okay.
grafting in the 1926. And he was interested in because avocados shouldn't exist anymore because they're out of date. They're an anachronism. And because their seed is way too big, and we don't have prehistoric fauna walking around eating those things anymore and swallowing those seeds. But he grafted 2 different types of avocado to make a big plump avocado.
Okay.
And he was going to destroy it. Didn't go the way he went. There's a long story behind it. He was going to destroy the tree, and then someone else came in. I can't remember his name. Came in and said, "You know what? These are really interesting fruit, like vegetables that are, what is it, avocado, fruit or vegetable? I can't remember.
It's fruit.
It's fruit." So he was like, "You know what? Leave it. It's really interesting. Let's plant more of them." And all the avocados that we consume today are Hass avocados, and it comes from that. That's only 100 years ago.
What do you call the big green ones? They call them California avocados, and they're big and they're bright green, like emerald green. They're not the black
I don't
ones.
know. I don't
Nobody
know
likes them.
I don't know if they're a derivative from the Hass tree. They may be, but the ones that that you get on your avocado toast for brunch on a Sunday in Brooklyn, they're Hass, and they only exist for 100 years.
I know a lot of people who are allergic to avocados because they fall into the same categories. People like who are allergic to plums and peaches are often also allergic to avocado. So they must in some way have some kind of relationship. I know a couple of people who are allergic to both peaches and avocados. Do you like avocados?
Yeah, I mean, I don't go crazy. There was a fad 10, 15 years ago in New York or in America in general that anything with avocado was great. And I always thought that was an exaggeration. Avocado doesn't really have a particular taste. It's more of a sensation on the palate than anything else.
It's got an underlying creamy, nutty vibe.
I know it's really high level protein and stuff like that. So everybody got crazy about it, but it was like avocados was saving. I remember going on about it because I was a ranter even back then when I had no one to rant to. I didn't have a microphone in front of me, but I did, but with the band, and I wasn't singing. And it was like, oh, they should make avocado airlines and everybody will book their flights on avocado airlines because clearly it's going to be a better airline. I was very annoyed with the avocado shit. Welcome, John.
Hey, John. Hey. Welcome to the show, and welcome to the show.
I'll be back in a second, guys.
How are you?
How are you? I didn't catch any of the show because I took a nap because I had a long morning. I had a museum morning, so with my father-in-law. And then we went out for lunch, and I ate eggs. And if I eat eggs, I immediately have to take a nap because there's something in eggs that makes me very sleepy. I don't know what it is. If it's whatever it is. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I've spoken to a couple of
maybe
people.
The proteins or the fats or something.
I don't know. It happens to me even if I eat egg whites. So, which I do quite often because,
Never heard of that. I know
a couple of other people who have that issue, but he told me that so you got rid of your whole collection? Whatever you had is gone? So you're watchless?
Yeah. I'm not technically watchless. I have one watch, which is a small micro brand out of Texas. It's called Seahome. It's a Seahome automatic. It's a dive watch. It's a commemorative Border Patrol 100-year anniversary. So I got it, because of my time in the Border Patrol. I purchased it just to kind of have. So now it's really my only watch. But yeah, I've always been a one watch type of guy. I mean, I'm not counting like G-Shocks and things that I kind of have lying around the house.
Those don't count.
Yeah, those don't. I mean, I'm not even wearing those.
They don't?
No, I mean, to me, it's like the higher end stuff, the stuff that you wear every day. That's kind of how I look at it. But now I'm literally down to just this one. So, I
used to see you with your Pepsi on. Well, I only know that because I've seen you. They have
I made the rounds. I went through almost the entire Rolex catalog at this point, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm evolving in my watch journey, and I'm starting to consider different brands. And I think I got bit by the Rolex hype bug rather early. And
Can
I don't know
happen.
if I just, yeah. And it's kind of like with Apple, like if you're an Apple
I just went
guy,
on my Apple rant because
everything is Apple.
what
I'm the same
everything.
way. I'm a brand loyal type of person. So,
Yeah, me, I'm
um,
super brand loyal, and that's about to change because I am about. I swear to God, my next phone is not going to be Apple. I'm done with them because of this shit
see,
that Tim Cook is pulling with creators on
Tim,
Patreon. It's
Tim
disgusting.
Apple, Tim
Tim Apple.
Apple.
You know what? When back in the day, like when I first met that guy, I was a Windows guy, and I was working. I was going to start working on a record of my own, like after my band broke up and stuff. And somebody wanted to get me some equipment, like a Patreon. Before there was Patreon, he was an actual patron, and he said we need to get you a new computer and stuff. I was like, well, everybody uses Macs now, and I've never used one. And so he got me a Mac, and then all of a sudden, my whole life is everything's Apple, 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 Apple. I have one of everything that they freaking make.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy decides he makes this thing. We all get these letters saying if any of you guys have a Patreon account, any of your new Patreons who want to start contributing to you, they have to pay 30% to Apple for using the App Store. And then Tim Cook said, well, it's actually an easy solution. Just increase your prices so it'll offset the cost, or you can eat it. Or
Pass
you
the
can eat it.
savings. Yeah, pass the savings on to your customer.
Wow. Is that the shittiest? You scumbag. You
It's not a
absolute.
coincidence that their campus is very similar looking to the Death Star. Maybe that's on purpose. Yeah. And it's all white, they got that Star Wars vibe going.
But Steve was really involved in that. I remember before Steve died, he showed the
It was his
plan.
last big
It
project.
was his last big thing, and he would go to the planning boards in Cupertino, and he was so excited, and he looked like Skeletor. And
He
didn't
knew.
look good.
I saw those speeches he made to local politicians and so on to get the planning permission or whatever. They're still live on YouTube. You can see them, and you can see it in his face that he knew he would never see this in reality.
He knew it.
This was his project, but he knew he would never live to actually see it.
His legacy,
Yes,
like getting your name on the emergency wing. And you know what's really fucked up about Steve Jobs, because he was such an unusual person. He had less than 1% of all kinds of cancer that he had something called small islet cell, which is the only curable version of pancreatic cancer. It's the one that you can you go in there, you have surgery, you yank it out.
But he left it too late, right? He wanted natural.
He wanted to go holistic,
healing.
and he went to a macrobiotic diet, and he decided, no, I'll just beat this on my own. That guy would still be alive right now had he just went and had that snip. It's like going in and having your appendix snipped out.
Yeah, I always forget that that's what he died from, because my mom actually died from the same thing. She had pancreatic cancer, but they found it really late, and she was only 56 when she died.
Wow.
So I was still in college, and it's crazy. And that lifestyle thing is so funny, because my mom exercised, and she would go swimming all the time. She ate fairly well, and 56 pancreatic cancer. And my dad made it all the way into his late 80s, and that guy drank like a fish. He smoked. Sure. He just did whatever the hell he wanted, and he made it to 88. Which is pretty good for a guy with that lifestyle.
Sure.
Well, if you look at all the people back in East, you're originally Russian, that I remember, like when I was a kid, Dan and Yogurt used to go to Georgia and talk about how they had the longest lifespan of any people on earth, the Georgian people. And I don't mean the state of Georgia, I mean the country of Georgia, which at that part was part of the Soviet Union. And I actually got to work at the last place I worked at. I worked with this Georgian woman who was a firecracker. I loved this lady. And I learned so much about Georgia, and she's told me that her grandparents were alive. I said, because she was a woman in her early 50s. I was like, oh, your grandparents? She goes, yeah, my grandmother is 109 and my grandfather's. I'm like, what? and it's just,
Jesus.
and she said we all drink vodka, they all smoke, they all do this. But she goes, it's our diet is so incredibly earth-like. There's no processed foods. Everything's supernatural. Everybody, she goes, they have a farm. They grow all their own food.
Yeah.
Well, the longest life expectancies in the world are Sardinia and Corsica and the south of France. And they say it's because of the wine is super tannic. And the tannins loosen your arteries.
I always thought it was Japan. It's not Japan. Isn't there that thing about the Japanese? There's like, is it Okinawans?
I'm going to look it up right now. I could be way off.
I've always heard that, but I don't know if that's like one of those memes that people just keep repeating.
We certainly didn't contribute to that now, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Easy E with 10 balloons. Have you or Ush, I am sure you have both seen the Nessun Dorma rendition with Pavarotti and Freddie Mercury. Yeah, of course I've seen that.
Oh my God, you're so right, John. Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, French Polynesia. I was way off. Samsonite. I was way off.
Samsonite? That's something other than luggage?
No,
that's a line from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Switzerland,
Australia, then Italy. So Italy is 7th.
It's still up there. Way better than the US.
France, right? So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Ireland is way down. Ireland's 21. Wow.
Right, because you get hit in the road.
That's funny because South Korea has the highest per capita suicide rates out of any Western country, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was Finland.
That's weird. That's weird that they still have such a high life expectancy.
Look at this. Let me take that.
Jesus, Hong Kong, really? Yeah, and Japan.
Hong Kong.
Yeah, Japan is.
Isn't it one of the most polluted, overpopulated places in the world?
It's up there.
Yeah, it is.
But Italy's not. I mean, number 7. God,
That's
the US has got to be way down there.
How is Australia higher than Italy?
They have all those snakes and bugs that can kill you.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? Wow, look at that.
God.
Guadeloupe.
Israel's 19.
Yeah, it's higher than Ireland.
The life expectancy in Israel's higher.
That's not good, Ireland. That's
what the hell?
No, Ireland's higher than Israel.
Is it?
Ireland was like number 7, wasn't it?
It's not here.
Oh, no, it's 21.
I don't know if this list is wrong.
21.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're near each other.
This might not be.
Ireland and Israel are always very near each other in lists anyway because of the I.
Because the I. The United States is probably not even on this list, right?
Yeah, the United States has got to be way at the
there
bottom.
It is.
48.
48.
Wow, just next to Estonia.
Under Panama.
Where's Georgia?
USA.
Where's Georgia?
I'm looking, man. I'm looking.
Is it not here?
Maybe I passed it, but let me take another look. I'm not seeing Georgia. I don't know if this list is. I should look at other lists.
By the way, I'll never forget when Emmett was touring with Enrique and he went to Georgia and he took pictures, and I've never seen hotter people in my life.
I have that video of him playing that gig in the piazza. Man. That was crazy.
He was walking around taking pictures of just everyday people, and they were the most beautiful people I've ever seen.
In
Georgia, they all looked
chiseled
out of granite. It's not even on the list.
When I was in
He's from Georgia,
the Netherlands in fucking, where was it? I was in Haarlem and in what's the capital? Fuck, can't even think. It's late.
Holland, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. All the women were 5'10", 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah,
they were just super tall.
Croatia was like that.
Look, this list is almost the same. Hong Kong at the top.
Yeah. But Italy's number 10.
Italy's 10 here. Switzerland is 7 here. You see, the lists are all different. If we look up an Israeli one, Israel will be at the top. They'll just push their way up like they did in the Eurovision. Just get the vote. They'll get the votes in.
Gabri says that Russian man's average life expectancy is about 56. I'm dead already.
Yeah, that might be true. Actually, if you want to see, I know Dirk will appreciate this. You want to look up a good-looking guy, look up young Stalin. You ever see him when he was younger?
When he was young, was he gorgeous?
Yeah, just
Oh,
look up young Stalin, young Joseph Stalin.
Oh yeah, he
This
is.
is for-
Yeah, he's handsome.
This is for Dirk. It looks like a yeah. My wife saw that picture. She's like, God, he was hot.
Did you bring it up already?
Yeah,
Gotta bring it up.
yeah, it's there.
I'm in.
We-
God, that's Stalin, huh? More Sheen's type
Yeah.
than mine.
Kind of looks like a younger O'Sheen.
Sheen only acknowledged a man's beauty when he's pretty.
Well, you know,
I like the bin man. I go for the bin man. I don't go for the. I go for the.
That's not the interesting part. The interesting part is how you successfully ignore the fact of what other people think is pretty. And you
No, I
go,
just think it's such
he's
a
not
classic,
hot.
it's
He's
such
not
a
hot."
classic straight guy thing. Like you because it's like like somebody telling me what a great Grateful Dead song is. It's like I'll never see it.
Right.
I'll just never see it because I just don't get it.
And that's the interesting part.
That's what makes the world go round, though. That
Yes,
some people
it is,
like
it is.
some people like avocados,
That's-
avocados, and
Right.
some people like watermelons, and some people don't. I mean, that's the beauty of it. But this, I just want to just really grab this chat real quick from Snola Ibax. Omegas are shite compared to Rolex. Why would you think that? It's very marketing has gotten
he
the
has a
very best of
Seiko.
you.
He has a Seiko in his avatar.
Yeah, I mean,
That doesn't make a whole
what
lot
is
of
it
sense.
about Omega that you think is shite compared to Rolex? Rolex is
I would say Omega are superior watches to Rolex in many ways.
many ways,
Especially in the past 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
I think their movements
more
are
innovative
superior.
and
Yeah.
they came up
Rolex
with,
has the name and Omega really has the build, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the technical specs. I don't think it's that way at all. But this is kind of part of that Rolex thing that I'm not a huge fan of. And I've been more exposed to it now because I'm in this world. But that is kind of a turnoff for me.
You've been looking at Omegas lately, right, John?
Yeah, so I'm bouncing back and forth. I'm looking at Omega. I'm looking at Vacheron.
Oh,
Yeah, my spread's a little wide there, but
yeah. That's a horse of now Usnola Ibex. That's a horse of a different color. Now
yeah,
you're
that's
talking
high.
about
That's
the
high
highest level of
horology.
horology
There.
that
Yeah,
there really is in the world.
I just sent John this earlier. He had seen it already, but I was comparing Omegas. It's the old one versus the new, the blue. You know, if you want to save a lot of money and still have fucking amazing horology on your wrist and a badass, beautiful, gorgeous watch that's going to look great in
yeah, that's a one and done right there.
It's kind of a one and done. It is, yeah. You know,
and look how much thinner that is. Like that's incredible. That's
I so much prefer that model. So
is one of those the quartz movement and one is the automatic?
No, there is a quartz in the same body as the left, but that's an automatic one.
Okay.
No, the one on the right is way newer. The one on the left is from the 90s. The one on the right is from 2018.
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty much the current case shape.
Yeah.
And they kind of killed all of that smoothness that happened. The one on the left is the one that Daniel Craig has on in Casino Royale, and
I mean that's
pretty much
that's
the
the Pierce Brosnan. That's the
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, that's the
Pierce Brosnan. I think he had the quartz one on his wrist.
He did the quartz one.
Yeah. Well, this is not quartz. This is automatic.
The quartz came first.
And this is an amazing watch because
and that's actually when I got. Yeah.
So many watch YouTubers started on these watches.
Everyone
on the
started
Omega
on this.
Speedmaster.
This is the gateway drug. This watch is the gateway drug to so many watch collectors. Fergal's got one of those. He's got it at the watchmaker right now.
Fergal's one is gorgeous. It has
gorgeous.
It's got the black dial with the aluminum bezel.
Yeah.
And I saw it here in Venice, and I was like, you know what? I want one of those.
Yeah, it's
absolutely. And that's a true driver's extension there.
Yeah,
it's a proper. Yeah, the other one.
Now, how tough are those to get in
decent condition?
Easy. Now you're talking.
No, not easy.
Yeah.
No, you go across Chrono 24 and everything, and you'll see a lot of them, but their bezels are scratched to hell. The red on the end of the second hand is faded to white or yellow. There's so many. You know how many offers I got for mine? You know how many? You wouldn't believe it.
That'll never leave you. Ever.
It is a really, really popular watch if it's in good condition. Look how good condition that one is. Very, very hard to find in excellent condition. If you want it, you just have to pay the extra. You can get one a little beat up for 2,000 and 2,200.
Yeah.
If you want one gorgeous, you've got to pay the extra grand. But you're still only down at $3,000 kind of area.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
I mean, I hate to sound classist here, but in the watch game, that's not a lot of money.
That's not. And the famous helium valve that people get very annoyed by on the old ones is tucked in, you see?
Yeah.
It's a little bit tucked in. Whereas on the other one, it looks like the cap of a toothpaste cap. It really sticks out, and it's the same shape as a toothpaste cap. And once you hear that, you can't unsee it. Let me forward.
Yeah,
you see it there?
The older one too, the GMT. There's one that you showed on your channel.
Yes,
that was the thicker. GMT that didn't have the helium escape valve. It's one of the few Omegas
that doesn't have it. It doesn't have it, but it's a thicker watch.
Yeah,
it's not way thicker, but it's noticeably thicker than the one you were looking at a second ago. So just be aware of that. Yeah, it is a great GMT. Dirk doesn't like it though, because I showed him it and he was like, "Didn't you?" You're
not a fan of that one, huh?
No, he said it looked like a roulette wheel or something.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that the GMT bezel. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just it's like I just feel like sometimes Omega tries so hard to act Rolexy, and when they do that, I get mad.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that they need to do that. And everybody, I can understand it's part of that whole Omega, it's that Rolex thing where, because they're the king and they sell 1 million+ watches a year, and people are crazy for it.
Let me see if I can find that video. It's in the state of the collection. I have the GMT.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
Yeah. I'll find it. There's some. Oh, look, I have everything labeled. Look, that's back.
Look at that.
Oh,
my ducks in a row. Look.
Wow, look
GMT
at that.
Master. I have 2 GMT Master 2s side by side. One of those went to Nico.
Oh.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Fuck face. That one. That one you're looking
choke
at.
on it.
Yeah. No, it's not in it. You know what's in there? The Vacheron Royal Eagle.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Vacheron just has that it has that stealth wealth type of vibe. Not that I'm going for it,
It's
but
what it is. Nobody knows what that is.
It does go unnoticed, and I think the other thing is like you're not going to care about the value of that watch because it's not one of those hot watches. That was a weird thing too that I experienced. I experienced 2 really strange things with the Rolex journey. The first was the acquisition side of it, which is again, I don't know if a lot of people will admit this. There it is. That's the one I was talking about. But the acquisition side of it is like getting it from the AD was part of the fun, so to speak. Like that's part of the equation, and the value of it is like being able to get it from the AD. But the second thing was the weird kind of, secondary effect of that is now you realize that you have all this money on top of the purchase because you got it from the AD. And that, like, that Pepsi was a perfect example. I paid 10, but the thing is worth 20. So I'm constantly thinking about that. That's in the, every time I look down at that watch.
In the end, you sold it for 20, right?
Yeah, and in the end, I sold it. I sold it right before the hype. But honestly, the moment I got it, within the first 6 months after the initial honeymoon phase, I was like, okay. It's like that wore off pretty quickly. And I don't know if I was motivated by the wrong things, but it definitely had that kind of effect, just like, okay, now I got it. Now I attained it. All right, now what? It's the dog that catches the car. It's like I didn't know what to do at that point. I was like, well, that was the hardest part, was being able to get it from the AD with no spend. Now I did that. Okay, I don't know if I still love this thing as much as I thought I would. It was almost like that letdown of you're after a beautiful woman and you finally get to sleep with her, and then after that you're like, well, I don't want to marry you. I just wanted to sleep. I just wanted to sleep with you, and now I did that. Now can I call you a cab? Let me take you to Starbucks so I know how to spell your name.
What about a Speedy?
I know that's terrible to say.
What about getting a Speedy? Would you be interested?
So the only downside to me of the Speedy is the durability of it, and I think I asked this question about swimming in it,
Yeah, you
and
can.
Yeah.
that's such a no go for that.
But there are
model.
variations that are waterproof. Like the 57. There's a couple of models out there. They don't look exactly like the classic. They have a date function or various other complications, but they do make the Speedmaster line is unfortunately way too large. There's way too many iterations, but you might find a couple of them that are quite beautiful. I mean, that's just, oh God, look at that strap.
And the other one that I'm actually drawn to is Panerai.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which is, it's tough to pull off with a suit, I think, especially the ones on the rubber strap, like the submersible. I love that line. There's one that's a black dial, blue hour markers, and it's on a rubber strap. I forget which one it is, but it's such a cool looking watch, and that's where my original love was, the dive watches. Like, that's where I got into it.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like, besides the Submariner, that's kind of it. But the other ones I was looking at, and that you actually coincidentally mentioned this on your stream, was vintage Rolex. So the 5-digit Submariners. That's like, that's a one and done. And this is where I would go through Rolex CPO, because those are serviced by Rolex. You're not getting aftermarket parts.
Sure.
And you can
pay through the nose though for that, no?
Yeah, but you're getting, you're still getting it at around what a new sub would cost you at retail. If you're
what about like a 1016, like an Explorer, a vintage Explorer? Those are gorgeous, man.
So I had the Explorer that I think, Oshin, the one you have, does it have the red GMT hand or the orange?
Orange.
Okay, so I had the one 42. That was the black dial with the red GMT.
That's the new one. That's the Polar. The Polar.
No, that's the 40 mil. Yeah, that's the 40 millimeter one. And I think
it's the 40. It's not the new one, Dirk. It's the old one. It's the 40 millimeter old one with the red. The new ones have an orange hand. Yeah.
And I actually got lucky because I ended up getting actually kind of a collectible one, because it was a V serial number, which means it had the newer 3086 movement. That's right. Not the 3085 movement.
It has a whole different thing inside. Yeah.
And I guess the way you could tell was when you set the GMT hand, it didn't have the wiggle.
Exactly.
That was the way.
There's no wiggle. You're
shit, the way you could tell.
Rolex. Yeah. And that's
I went
movement
down that rabbit hole.
This one. Like that's it's a better movement.
But apparently those were highly sought after, because the guy that sold it to me didn't realize that he had that, so he sold it to me thinking that it was the 85 movement.
Right.
And so I got it for like $8,000.
Nice.
And then once I realized what I had, I was like, oh, I kind of got a good deal on this one. But I didn't keep that one for long, because the older bracelets are not as good as the modern Rolex bracelets. And I know that's one of the complaints people have had about the old subs, is that those bracelets are just not what the new ones are.
Yeah, the new ones are, they're more advanced. They have the glide lock and all of that. There's a newer one. This isn't the 1-2 movement reference. It's the 1-1. But on the left, you have the this is a V serial, because it has the Rolex repeat rehot. You can kind of make it out there. No holes case. So V serial 2010. And this one on the right, I got at retail for $8,600. And I'll just go through the comparisons. But they're different beasts. We love the 5 digits because they have a look off them. There's something about them. But the 6 digit have that beefiness to them. Look, it's almost like the Seamaster video I just showed you, like the difference of the thickness. Yeah.
I can definitely see you you're just done with the 6-digit look and feel. You're just done with that. You want to go for something that's a little bit more elegant, more refined, something you could wear with a suit. Look at that. That looks great, though. Well, that's a great shot.
That's over in
the picture.
Yeah, it's in the Amarone land there near Verona. And that is the 6th digit there. Totally different thing.
Yeah.
But those old subs, they have that 80s, 90s like vibe to them. And one of the guys articulated it well. It's a watch that, you can wear with a suit, and you can sit down and have an interview with somebody. But if they get up and run, you chase them down.
Yeah.
Like you could still do both. So that's the one I'm leaning towards if I stick with Rolex, is like a birth year Submariner, or like a
Nice.
90, like a 93, because that's when I came to the US, was 93.
Yeah.
So like a 93 Submariner. But the other ones I was looking at through the CPO was the Day-Dates, but I'm probably going to wait till I turn 50 before I go the
Just
full
old man's watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
There's the clasp.
How far back
There's the
do they
old
have in
clasp
that
there.
program?
It's a stamped clasp.
A stamped class.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's what I have on my gold sub. It's the stamp.
It's beautiful.
It's all in gold, so I don't give a shit. But you don't have that. There's the new one. Look, it's milled, completely different thing. This thing has stickers still on it. Look, I wouldn't take the stickers off. I'm fucking crazy.
I have the sticker on mine.
Oh yeah.
I keep putting it back on.
Yeah, careful with that microphone.
Yo, that's why I don't wear my watch. I wear my watch on my right hand. When I do the show, I wear it over here. I switch hands because everybody said, oh, Dirk.
Look at those body shape changes. That there's
crazy.
So much more metal on this one.
It's like it gained a couple pounds.
Yeah.
That looks so much. Yeah, the one on the left just looks so much better.
It's true.
It's got that traditional look. But I actually asked, because I was looking at the date, and I asked that question about how far did they go back, and how far did they go back as far as servicing. And the guy from 1916 watch company said that I think they go back into the 70s right now.
Okay. So you can't get like a 5513 or one of those crazy James Bond.
Yeah, he said they'll accept those, but they said that as far as servicing, they don't have a time frame. So essentially, if you still have a Rolex from the 60s and you send it to Rolex for service, they will still service that watch. Now, how they do that, I mean, I'm sure they're not putting in original old stock parts. Maybe they have a process to do that, or they have enough of those parts on hand to service whatever watches are in circulation. But he assured me that if I bought, a watch from the 80s, because that was my concern. I said, look, if I buy a watch from the 80s and I have it for life, if I send it back to you when I'm in my 60s, are you going to tell me, listen, we can't service this watch because it's, going on 60 years, 70 years old? And they said, no, as far as Rolex is concerned, that's not an issue. But again, as with all things Rolex, that might change.
Well, I had my gold one serviced, no problem, no questions asked. This is from 1993. This is a 5-digit, of course, 1993. Holes case, the whole bit, and no problem. I mean, 93 is a different thing, but it wasn't an issue. They didn't say, "Oh, it's so old" or anything like that. There was no issues at all.
And even that comparison is funny because the two-tone looks good until you put it next to the gold. It's like a very good-looking girl standing next to a supermodel. You're like,
did you see that, Dirk, on my Instagram earlier?
Yeah, I commented.
Oh, you did. That's right. Sorry.
Full gold all the way.
Full gold all the way. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not I don't like two-tone. I think two-tone, forgive me, viewers, I think two-tone, it just looks tacky. It looks Gavone. It looks very Brooklyn. How you doing? I'm going to meet my girlfriend, Stephanie. It just looks something one of the Sopranos would wear. I don't love two-tone.
There's a lot of guys out there with girlfriends called Stephanie.
Hey, Stephanie, I pick you up. Take you to Kalamazoo tonight.
You just pissed off. You just pissed off an entire borough.
Yeah, they know. I was in Brooklyn today, and believe me, it hath changed.
But to be fair, I remember that argument about the 36 mil versus the 40 mil, and people were saying Tony Soprano wore a 36 millimeter day chest
on his big meat hook.
Yeah, so if you're saying that the 36 is dainty, I don't know.
It looked dainty on him, though. It did. But
it did a little bit.
Classic. When you have the little pepperoncino, the gold pepperoncino. What do you call that? What do you call that? That horn that Italians wear around their neck.
Oh yeah.
It's a little pepperoncino, and the guys that wear that, see, that looks amazing. That's an amazing looking watch.
Yeah, that's a one and done right there.
Yeah,
that's a fuck you.
Or
watch.
you could be Nathaniel Hannon and have a full gold Speedmaster too.
Yeah,
I
that's
went to the
also
beach with this. I mean, you
that's
saw in the
also
video, it was under the water. You know, you
yeah,
can.
that
I mean,
I
it's
love
made
that
to
thing.
go to dive with. I mean, it
Yeah.
has all the same specifications. It's just made of gold. So you know, I swam with it, no problem, all good. You
Oh
know.
yeah. Yeah, that's a statement piece right there. That's the watch that enters the room before you do.
So how much was the service? So it was 750 for the regular service, 750 euros, and there was a missing link, and I wanted the missing link, and I didn't want to go to eBay because there are stories about
They're
people
fake.
or taken from a different kind of watch that suffices, and so I wanted that, and that was 650 for the link, and then service said that you need a new crown, and the crown was 350.
Oh wow.
So it added up, but a regular service is 750, and it doesn't matter if it's gold or steel or anything. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
Now you're looking at Vacheron now.
Yes, the 4500V to be specific.
Is that on their website right now? Let me pull it up.
It is, but there's a lot in circulation on Chrono, and I like the thing I like with them is, I mean, not only obviously the high horology, but they're the quiet professional out of the three.
Sure.
When it comes to AP and Patek. And I love that they come with the interchangeable straps. They've got the modular system there where you don't even need a tool to swap out those straps. And they're just, I don't know, there's something about them. They're just, they're elegant, they're beautiful, they're, yeah.
There's something about them.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's
Okay, they're just
it's a simplistic way of putting it. It's like there's
formed.
something about a Picasso. There's something about it.
Yeah. So you're looking at blue dial, black dial? What are you looking at?
I actually like the white dial.
Oh,
Because
dial.
it's very legible, and there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, it's not a crazy price point. I mean, that's if you take the profit that I've made so far, that's where that money would go. So
yeah,
it's not
really,
like
this watch isn't costing you a dime when you think about it.
Yeah, to be fair, be fair, that's what I've been trying to explain to my friends that are thinking I'm insane when I
What do you say to your wife?
Well, so she actually, when I first got into it, she said, as long as you don't lose money, I'm okay with this.
Right.
But if you start, buying a watch for 10, selling it for 5, and then going back and forth, and then I'm not okay with it. So far she's been pretty happy. It's kind of like with work, I travel a lot for my job, but I'm using, miles and hotel points when I take her on vacation. So she's like, this is okay. But yeah, I mean, that thing is just.
Can we interest you in a silver dial? Because that looks unbelievable.
That's a silver dial. Is
that's beautiful too. That's amazing too. I just don't like the blue because I think it's too much of a contrast given the simplicity of the rest of the watch.
I like the silver, man.
But the silver and the white, those are my two favorites because that is just, I mean, that's a work of art right there. And the
what are the strap
is
options
so beautiful.
with that integrated bracelet?
There's a leather and a rubber.
Okay, so yeah, but they stay Vacheron.
Yeah, here they come. Yeah.
No, they come. They come
with it.
They come with the watch, and they have they have a deployant system. So it's a modular. It's a modular design for the bracelet connecting to the watch, but the deployant is on both the rubber and the leather strap, and they're pretty good quality for both. So you're kind of getting 3 watches in one, really, if you think about it, because the leather and the rubber really changes the aesthetic of the watch. So you almost never get bored with it, because just throw on a new strap and it's more sporty on the rubber. It's more, refined on the metal, and it's maybe
that's true. You've been doing Rolex for a while, but that's true of Speedies and of Panerais. You can put a Speedy on nearly anything, and a Panerai is the same. You get to kind of reinvent your own watch. But look, Vacheron is, first of all, it's Holy Trinity, so now you're in that world. That's when you pass the Rolex AD and you don't look in the window. Do you know that thing? Like, you get it, right?
And you know, the guys see that in the restaurant al fresco, and they might not want to nick it because it's not a Rolex. You know.
Yeah.
There's that too,
You
but
might
there's
not be
also
big.
the personal feeling, like, because you always like when you pass the Rolex AD or any AD, and you kind of look in the minute. When you have a Holy Trinity on your wrist, you're over it. You don't care anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
it's that.
fuck you guys. You know.
I actually just thought of a meme that I should make. It's
That's
the
beautiful, by the way.
there's that meme with the guy and the girl walking, and the guy's looking behind, looking at the other girl that's
the
passing.
famous,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's the meme of you. Rolex is the girl you're walking with, and VC is the other girl walking in the other direction.
Or any Holy Trinity. Once you go there,
Yeah.
I can only tell you, I don't have a Patek. I had a VC, the Royal Eagle. It was very interesting, strange watch.
Yeah.
But I'm an AP boy. Once you go into the AP world, you're out. You're out of that
done
shit.
with that shit now.
Yeah, you're fucking gone. You look at that and you go, what a sad state of affairs.
You're out of the rat race almost. It's like it's like being it's like working at a good job versus being, completely financially independent.
Yeah, that's the feeling you get. And you just don't stop to look in the window. You don't care anymore. Once I started going to AP, I don't even bother going into Rolex, into the ADs here anymore to say hello.
There's nothing that could interest you. There's nothing
Not
they
really,
have.
no. And one of those my friends, he's Tiziano. He's a lovely guy, and I want to pop in and say, "Hey, how you doing?" But I just there's no, I'll see him. I'll text him. We'll go for a coffee. I've no interest. I still love Rolex, like, of course, but it's like once you get up there, you're like, and trust me, VC, of all of the watches I've ever owned, when you manipulate the crown and you wind it and you fucking set the time, holy shit, you're reminded that you're in a different stratosphere. It's a totally different level of horology under the hood, completely.
Yeah. And I
it's
love
a smack in the face. Honestly.
Yeah, and I love the subtlety of it though too, because it's not ostentatious, it's not loud, it's not in your face. It's that exact.
Now, are you thinking, like, if you're doing an interrogation, you go into a room, some nervous guy there rehearsing his lines, his answers, and you sit down and you go, "Hello there, Mr. Whatever," and you want to watch on the wrist. Are you thinking? What do you think of the VCs going to have that power? Or
so it's funny you say that, because I've actually had the opposite of that with Rolex, and that's also one of the reasons I want to get away from that brand, because in an interview, the analysis is going both ways. The person you're interviewing is also kind of in a way assessing you a lot more than people realize. And I've had this happen multiple times, and this happened with the Pepsi, and this actually just happened last week in Arizona with my Datejust, of all things. And the guy noticed it, and he goes, "Oh, is that a Rolex?" And that's a weird, like, because part of that deflects the conversation, but it's also, it throws me off my game, because now I have to respond to that while maintaining rapport. So I can't just ignore it and go, "Listen, we're not talking about my fucking watch. Let's stay on task here," right? So I have to kind of indulge the guy a little bit, but I lose momentum.
You killed her, right?
yeah. So those people you picked up, you're smuggling for the cartel, right? Like it's just it creates that weird bridge in the conversation that I now have to cross with this person.
Yeah.
And I don't like doing that. Whereas with something like this, nobody is going to know what this is unless they're a watch nerd.
I'm going around to the white dial, man.
Yeah, nice.
It's a little more pop than the silver.
Yeah,
but it's a beautiful contrast. I mean, wow, that's a gorgeous shot.
It looks great there. Guys, we have a couple of super chats we ignored.
Yeah, go for it.
Make sure we get them.
Please.
Easy, $10. Thanks. Yes, we've heard it. And you know what? Listen, you know how much I love Freddie Mercury, but who can sing with Pavarotti? Come on, that's crazy. It's good. Nathaniel Hannon with $4.99. Remember back when Google's catchphrase was "Don't be evil." Apple, don't be evil. Stop being evil. Nathaniel Hannon, it's time for John to get a speedy. Well, we could talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get
and Ray in his Ray E says, "Hi, gents.
God.
My questions were tactfully ignored earlier because when you get into a deep conversation, it's very hard to keep track of that. There's 3 people here, so I can do it. Thought about that starboard. Don't know what that is. Platform 2 to discuss shite. Anybody? My 2 cents. John Morley, are you cool with your job? Yeah, he's cool with his job because he's protecting the free world, my dear friend. And for that, I'm going to give everybody one big mega chat, and it's something we hope we never see.
God, so ominous.
And Japan still has the longest lifespan in the whole wide world.
So ominous. And Ray, we're not ignoring you. It's just a lot of the time we have a hard time deciphering what you're saying.
When you get in the flow,
and we love enigma. It's the enigma.
I'm gonna go get a bottle of wine, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool.
Time to start drinking.
Speaking of wine, I've got I'm having a.
Can't show us the bottle, but
I can't show you the bottle. I'll show you the bottle when we get off the air. But it's a I'm gonna butcher this. Giuseppe Safirio. It's a Barolo, and I think it's I'm trying to see where it's from here. Imported through California, but I think it's a product of Italy.
Oh, there has to be.
It's a 2018 Barolo. So it's
there's no such thing as a Barolo that's not from Italy.
Yeah, it's nothing high end, but it's.
What'd you spend? $50?
Yep, that's it right there. It's the one next to it. I think the 15 euros.
Yeah,
it's not bad. It's really good. It's a good little sipping wine.
Hey, Barolo is a solid choice always.
But I actually employed your tactic of the less stuff there is on the bottle label, more times than not, the quality is actually pretty
So this
good.
is from Monforte d'Alba. I spent a couple of nights in Monforte. It's a beautiful place. They have a very famous Barolo there called Prunotto, which our good friend from Barossa, the great new app that's going to be released almost as we speak, bought me a bottle in Florence. He brought me a bottle of the Prunotto Riserva, the Bussi one. Monforte is a beautiful little, crazy little looking town with weird little bars everywhere, and it's right there in the area. What you can see behind that photo there, can you see that? Yeah. That's how they look. The crazy thing when you go into Piemonte, as opposed to this side of Italy, all of their vines are so well kept. Everything's so regimental. Looks German.
Looks manicured.
Yeah, it's perfectly manicured. It's amazing.
So how would you rate this? How would you rate this bottle on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I don't know.
6 or a 7? Have you had this before?
I haven't had this bottle. But I would say that it's
regionally it's a 6 maybe.
It's a 6 or 7.
Yeah, and that's pretty good.
Go wrong with Barolo. They don't wander too far off the map. They don't do enriching. They don't do any crazy games. They can't.
Yeah. So I'm gonna if you have time at some point, because the guy that I get, there's a little store here, and the guy has a decent supply, but he's one of those guys where if you tell him you want something and he knows you'll buy it, he'll order it for you.
Sure.
So anything specific, if you say, hey, listen, I'm looking for this whiskey, I know you don't stock it, but if you get 3 or 4 bottles, I'll buy them. And he knows that it's not going to be a loss.
You want a list of names?
Yeah, I'll give you
a list of names.
If you, I know I'm talking to the right guy here. See, this is where we can share our knowledge base, because I want to kind of venture into the higher end stuff. And
sure. I mean,
because I don't drink a lot.
I mean, do you like Barolo?
I love Barolo. I love Barolo. That's probably, like, palate wise, that's my go-to, because
I got you. I know exactly what you want.
Yeah, I think my flavor profile is something you can reverse engineer pretty quickly as far as wines go.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I don't drink that much, and I've completely gone away from liquor. I've completely gone away from beer. If I'm at a pub with friends, I'll have a Guinness, but that's just like that's literally I can have one or two and I'm done.
Yeah.
And the other day that I think I sent you the message because I was at the airport and it's fucking balls hot in Arizona. I mean, it's 107. So even in the AC, you're feeling it. But I had a lager, like a light beer, and it was just the perfect drink at the perfect time given that temperature. But as far as the things I'm buying to actually put in my house, that's where I'm going to stick with the nicer wines. So I know that if I go to him and say, look, can you get me these two wines? He'll go, yep, I got you. And I'll order it. Because he's done that for me with other things that he doesn't stock because he knows I'll buy it. So that's a good connection.
I got you covered.
Perfect.
I'll give you the list and he'll be able to get them.
Perfect. Yeah. Because it's tough out here. I mean, I'm kind of I'm a little bit in the sticks. I'm away from the major city, but it's a nice it's what they call a bedroom community. People just live here and they go to work somewhere else. But he's able to order stuff pretty quickly. I mean, even like I know at the time the Don Julio 1942 was tough to get, like right around COVID. I don't know. Everybody just decided that that's the tequila they wanted, and there was like a shortage. And I asked him, and he goes, "I can get you a bottle, but you have to buy it because if you screw me over, and I order you a bottle,
like that, wow,
yeah." And he's like, "Listen, if you're gonna buy it, I'm gonna order it for you, but if you stiff me, I'm not going to do that for you ever again."
He's going to wind up with it stuck there in his store.
Well, that's like his policy. He knew somebody else would buy it, but he doesn't do that for everybody. And if you ask him for that favor, he expects you to actually buy it. So if I come in and say, "Hey, can you get these? Can you get me these 2 Italian wines that are $100 for a bottle?" And then I end up not buying it, and then somebody else isn't going to buy it, and where I'm at, he's going to be kind of stuck with it. So I think it's just a way to keep everybody honest.
Travis Watts, a good Barolo is hard to find at a decent price in California. Anyone have any recommendations in the States? Listen, California is a wine producing region, so of course there's going to be difficulty finding wines from other regions. We have the same problem here in Italy. Good luck looking for all the French varietals and so on. That's really fucking hard. What are you having?
I'm having a Lalande de Pomerol. I'm having a Chateau de la
Oh, you
Marche.
shit. I hate you.
It's young, but it's big.
It's very young.
It's very young, but I'm telling you right now, the price was right. It was a crazy price.
Wow.
It was up at Vernon Wines, and I went, wow, let me try that. And you know what? Tastes like Pomerol.
That's beautiful. And Dirk, I forgot to mention. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to thank Dirk. I know I thanked you guys on your stream, but I know you guys, when you do this, sometimes you don't realize how much entertainment you're actually providing, even when you're just kind of talking. But I was stuck at the Dallas airport for 7 hours, and I literally just streamed Oshin, Tim, and you, Dirk. And before I knew it, I was finally getting on a plane, and I could not imagine just sitting there having to play on my phone or just scroll YouTube endlessly. So I do want to thank you guys for doing that, because
man, thank you for saying that.
Sometimes you don't hear it and you maybe don't get the feedback from the audience, but you guys definitely saved my sanity after a long week, so I appreciate it.
Podcasts are a great way to pass the time. Sometimes you miss the train, you're like, no big deal, I'll wait for the next one. I'm enjoying this podcast. Travis Watts, a good Barolo is hard to find at a decent price. So in California, I would look for Pio Cesare, Vietti, Elio Grasso, Prunotto. You can rewind this to find all the names, okay? And who else? I don't know. There's
I know you don't like them, but I love the Serralunga de Alba by Marcelino.
Oh, Serralunga. No, I like Serralunga.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and Fontana Forte.
Oh yeah.
Pricier,
a little pricier.
Yeah. Elio Grasso is going to cost you a lot.
Sure.
Pio Cesare will be about $90, $100.
Yeah.
Prunotto is about 50, 60. Vietti is about 50, 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elio Grasso was the original guy, so he's our boy.
Sure.
You know. And
I
there
mean,
was
when
the one that I was it Silvio Grasso?
yeah, Silvio Grosso. You recommended. I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I got it from. Didn't I get that from Nathaniel? He sent it to me.
And Nathaniel got a case.
Yeah.
Because I picked up the Silvio Grasso and I could taste Elio in there. I was like, "You fucker! You stole your dad or your uncle or whatever the relation is there." I was like, "You stole his secrets clearly." And I was like, "How long before this bottle is $300? Instead, it's what 25 or 30."
Yeah.
So I told everybody on the channel, and fucking Nathaniel was like, "I want a case." Poof, he found one. And
Nathaniel's another guy I really appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah. I mean, I always say, be careful because he's the smartest guy in the room because he is so strong in so many different levels of expertise. It's frightening to me.
Yeah.
He's a fascinating person, and I've actually had the pleasure of having dinner with him, and in person it's even more intimidating because I'm like, God, I'm such a dope.
Yeah, that's a guy that I feel like I get erroneously labeled as like, oh, he's smart and he knows these things, and it's like I know a little bit about very, very specific things. It's like artificial intelligence can be general artificial intelligence, or it can be very specific. I'm kind of the robot that can do a very specific task fairly well, whereas Nathaniel's like artificial general intelligence. So you can kind of plug in whatever topic you want, and you're going to get a fairly coherent, cogent response, and you're going to go, holy shit, is this guy an expert in this too?
And he speaks Latin, which is what?
I think anybody who takes the time to learn a dead language, I'm automatically putting in a different category. And the gold speedy
Aramaic while he's at it.
Yeah, and that gold speedy doesn't hurt. I think that's another.
I got to put it on because we have the same size wrist, and man, I just went, oh, it was not even believable, and it was so heavy.
His particular one is the one.
It's
the one because it's got the gold dial with the contrasting subdials. There are a lot of them out there, and they're not the same as that one. That one is the one, and I remember he texted me when he was having a look, and I was like, "Are you seriously trying on? Who has that?" And he's like, "Yeah, they have one here." But they didn't have it on the full gold bracelet. And I was like, if you can get it on the full gold bracelet, man, that's the fucking holy grail in the Omega world. And then he said, I want it. And they shipped it in from Vegas or something. And the next day
they had to go source the bracelet. Yeah.
But that's a very hard piece to get. And it is the one. And I put one on in Dublin, and it was 52,000 euros.
Yeah.
And he got his for about $40, somewhere around $40. So he really, he got one of the great watches in the world.
He did it right. Yeah, that's another one that's.
He's in the chat.
That red sub is fantastic as well. Or the red dial. I'm sorry, not the red. The red dial full gold speedy. Because there's a couple.
Red dial?
I think there's one. It's a full gold, but it's got the red, not the green.
Black. There's gold and
there's black, green. There's black, green, and gold, and that's it.
There isn't a red one? I thought there was.
There's a red Aquaterra.
Oh, you're right. You're talking about the burgundy one from ages. It's not a red dial. It's got a red bezel.
Yes.
Yes.
That's got a piece of the moon in the back.
Yeah, that one.
That thing, forget it. You're never getting that because it's out of production, and they went to 59,000, 60,000 on fucking Chrome. Yeah. Forget about it. I should have moved on that when it was 30.
Oh,
it was crazy because the whole watch world was on a spike and that wasn't, and then the spike fell and that thing went up.
Yeah,
nobody can get them because they're limited, and and Clooney has one. Of course he does.
Yeah,
well, shockingly.
Yeah, that's like getting the Ed White. It's like good luck getting an original from.
I know. Don't get me started on that action.
And is that the one that they built? There's like 4 guys that just make those in Omega. Is that the Ed White?
The Ed White is completely made by one.
It's a handmade guy.
It's a handmade 3-2-1. It's a 3-2-1, and it's one. They have 5 watchmakers in the studio that are assigned to that watch, and one of them will sign off on that watch.
Ooh.
And that is the one that you're gonna get.
Yeah, Omega somehow there's that weird thing that just happened where Omega. I agree. I hate the argument that Omega makes inferior watches to Rolex because it's not even close. But the marketing is so contagious that I feel like people just overlook, the value. But again, that's the one. That's the one.
Oh, that with the okay.
Oh, I love that watch. That is
You're never getting unless you
yeah.
want to pay money.
Yeah, that's
That has like like the Earth and the Moon on the back, and the moon, that what represents the moon, is a piece of moon rock. It's a piece of goddamn moon rock. That is insane. That is, but it's a little inferior to like what Nathaniel has. He has a better clasp and so on. This is a slightly older watch, but this is like.
and look at that movement.
So
Jesus.
you see that
Well,
there,
that's
that
that's
moon,
the
that moon there.
3861 or
Because down
That's
here,
a piece
we
of the
have
moon,
planet
right?
Earth, we have America, and we have a piece of. That's a fucking piece of
this piece of the moon. Yeah.
Jesus.
But that's got the new bracelet on it, though. Does it not have the same clasp as Nathaniel has?
No, this predates all of that, all of those shenanigans completely. No, this is like monumental. I'll go on Chrono in a second and see if there are any left. There it is. There's the fucking piece of. That's a piece of moon rock.
Yeah, it's a piece of moon rock.
I mean, you're talking about a flex for a watchmaker.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. Yeah. We put a piece of the moon in our watch.
That's the only one that's better than Nathaniel's, in my opinion.
I don't think it's anywhere near as pretty though, because I don't love the indices. I don't love them.
Oh,
yeah, I think that red is specific. Yeah, the indices do look a little
they're like
out of place
looking.
Now that you said that,
yeah,
they look out of place.
That looks a little gavon to me, but that's just nitpicking. I would be like, yes, please, thank you, because it's obscene.
You're not kicking that thing out of bed.
No, absolutely not. I'm paying that to get into the I'm putting the money on the dresser.
If you see here,
look at the way he's dressed too. Look at that. Look at the way that he's like wearing a khaki jacket, and I mean, it's so casual. Yet that thing will dress up so beautifully.
Casually wearing a $70,000 watch.
Yeah. So these are the current ones. This is the one that Elton has, my friend in Dublin. It's a Sedna gold, is rose gold.
That's beautiful too.
A lot of people have this green dial one. I have an issue with this one because it doesn't look green; it looks black. You need it in high contrast to see green. This is the one. So
that's the one Nathaniel has.
That's the one And you know what? I was in Lisbon in the Omega boutique, and I was like, they showed me the green one, and I was like, the one I like. And the main guy in the Lisbon boutique goes, don't say another word. I know the one you want. He goes, the one with the gold dial with the contrasting subs. And I said, yes. And he goes, I'm on the list for that.
I'm on the list and I'm not getting that call.
I mean, that's the one. For me, and you're right, Dirk, those indices are way nicer.
Way sexier.
Yeah,
I don't like those short, little, chunky, little onyxy things. I just don't.
Yeah,
not
you're
my
right.
thing at all.
Yeah, that's a piece of art.
Yeah,
because I remember seeing Nathaniel on your stream, and he had it on, and I mean, I was listening to what he was saying, but it was that watch was so distracting.
Jesus Christ! You know how heavy the thing is.
Nathaniel, send me a couple of pictures to the gallery so I can flaunt your watch.
Yeah, sorry we're like taking up all this time talking about Nathaniel.
No, it's great. Send Nathaniel, if you could, send me a couple of pictures to basherdirk@gmail.com so I can pull them up so we have it in action. Look at that thing. Oh, God, in heaven's name.
And you know how top heavy it is? Like, it's almost out of balance because the fucking head is it's 42 mils of gold.
Yeah. Of gold.
It's heavy and you kind of don't care. It's like one of those heavy guitars that keeps like neck heavy and keeps sliding down.
Well, it's deceiving how heavy gold is. I tried on a 40 mil date at the AD and I was like, holy shit. I mean, this thing, you feel it. It's got that presence on your wrist, but it's substantial. The weight is totally different from stainless steel.
Oh, it's a completely different animal altogether.
Yeah, fucking.
Travis Watts, by the way, $10 for thank you for the suggestions for the wine. Always, Travis.
Yeah, man.
Always. Let's give you a little bit of a cow.
I'm trying to think of other Barolos that maybe
All the Borgognas. I mean, like you can even just go listen.
Oh, Borgogno.
Borgogno,
How could I
of course.
forget Borgogno? Jesus
All of
Christ.
the whole line of them are great.
Borgogno,
Yeah.
and it has the Borgogno bottle is a
it's the
Pinot shaped
classic.
bottle.
It's the classic shape too.
Yeah.
It's so classic.
Thank you.
What was the name of the wine that we bought all of, Asheen? I can't remember. I have a bottle of it in my living room. Should I go grab it? Hold on.
Yeah.
Stay put.
I can't believe I forgot Borgogno is fucking legendary. That's like, it's like forgetting, I don't know, Breitling or something. Oh man, fuck.
That was another brand I was looking at too. Again, another brand that's incredibly great watchmakers that because of marketing and they kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah.
In the early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, but they're fantastic watches. They're
the detail.
Amazing watches.
What's this going to be, Asheen? What's it going to be? What did we buy?
I can't see the whole.
I'm not showing it on purpose.
Oh, is it Balthus?
That's correct.
Yeah, but I thought we were talking Italy.
No.
That's Chateau Rignac.
Yeah, Chateau Rignac. It's the Stephanie and what's his face, Valdo.
Ves Valdo and Stephanie.
It doesn't exist anymore. I can't find it anywhere.
You can't find it?
No, I've tried. And I wonder if I'd even like it anymore.
They did triple distilling and it created a big
micro,
problem.
Whatever it's illegal in the USA.
Really?
Yeah.
Micro oxygenization.
Oh, the process.
Yeah, they push the wine. Here's an interesting tidbit for anybody watching. The USA has the most stringent wine laws in the world.
Yeah.
You know, you think of USA as free market, let's all fucking go hell for leather. No. You can't enrich wine in the USA. It's completely against the rules. Purchasing and selling wine from the USA is extremely difficult.
Right.
There's a 3-tier system in the USA. They're very, very stringent about wine, and I love them for that. I fucking love it. Because you're not going to get fake wine. You're not going to get enriched wine. They do malolactic fermentation, the secondary malolactic fermentation, on Chardonnays and things like that. But other than that, there's no fucking around. You can't be doing the triple barrel stuff that Balthus did. And Stephanie and Westphal out there from the States, they made their money selling lingerie. They made their millions, and then they flew to France with their millions, and they bought Chateau Rignac, which was all overgrown, weeds all over it, and they restored the place, and they started making Balthus.
2005.
Oh.
We drank it all. We went and bought cases of it. Cases.
Yeah. I mean, everything.
Asheen, myself, Dana, Emmett, we had cases come. She'd be like, I see 3 cases online. You want 2? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I'm getting 2. And we'd have them delivered, and we would just have wine nights with that stuff.
We just had so much Balthus.
Yeah, we had so much of it. Because it tastes like, and you know, just so you know that the blind French, you know, taste tests, all the big things that go on in France, these guys that they've got Latour and they've got Rothschild and they've got Petrus, and this would win. This would beat them.
It was like crazy. Or we get number 2, and they'd be pissed off.
They'd be so pissed. Like Pomerol, everyone in Pomerol, like Petrus would be like, no. It created a big firestorm.
I think we drank it because it was not distributed in America. We bought it from winebids.com.
We did.
Some guy imported it and he was selling it all, and we bought it all
of it.
Dude, do you remember I met that guy I was meeting him down in Washington Square Park, and he was the son of a restaurateur, and he was ripping off bottles from his dad. Yes. And he sold me a bunch of Opus. He would meet me in the park like it was a drug deal. Yeah. And I was giving him $75 a bottle for 1992 Opus. And I was coming over to Emmett's house, going, stick that in the fridge. And then
we drank it.
We drank it all. We drank
We
it
drank it
all.
all. You want to hear? I'll tell you remember the story, but I'll tell everybody. I used to work for a company called Arc Restaurants. They're a very big restaurant company, many restaurants, but they never had like a great restaurant. So they bought the very famed New York restaurant Lutece, which had been around. It was famously featured on an episode of Mad Men, where it was a new restaurant and everybody went. Roger took his whores there. So they bought this restaurant. And they completely fucked it. They destroyed it. They fired the chef. They got some new jackass in there.
I don't want to interrupt. Easy Elton doesn't have the green dial. He has the black dial with the Sedna gold.
Yes, he does.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So they ran that place into the ground and they shut it. And I kept saying to them, what are you going to do with the cellar? What are you going to do with the cellar? And I had a list of what they had because I remember one of the managers there said, can you get me the wine list so I know what's in your cellar? I said, you guys have 19, you have Cheval Blanc 47. You guys have all the great Rothschild vintages. You have Petrus galore. What are you doing with all that stuff? They took all the wine, they moved it into the Arc warehouse, which was not temperature controlled, and they left it there and it all got ruined. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I had told them, I said, you cannot move that because they got rid of the building as well. I said, you have to put that in a wine vault. That has to be stored. That's been there since for how long? I mean, when they got the 47 Cheval Blanc, it was only a decade old at that point. What are you, crazy? And they just wrote it off. They didn't care.
I know a guy who had a place downtown Tribeca that he would store the wine. So if you had an amazing wine collection, but you had your Eurocav fridge that would hold 160 bottles, like the one I had in Brooklyn. But if you had 500 bottles and you wanted to keep these things in perfect condition, this guy would rent you space. So you would, put. So then there was the big fucking storm. When was that? 2010, 2011, 2012. It was a huge storm that flooded the entire lower.
It was Hurricane Irene or Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah.
It was Sandy.
Sandy. That was it. And a lot of people wound up in hotels.
Came up to Vernon Boulevard, Sheen.
What?
Came up to Vernon Boulevard.
I remember.
Up to Bella Via.
Yeah. You know why this is all blurred for me? Because then COVID happened, and that was another big fucking disaster. Anyway,
from our brains.
It's
those years are lost years for all of us.
The lower end of Manhattan was fucking flooded, and he got flooded, and he went down to his business because it was underground. That's the best place to keep wine, and all he saw were labels of bottles floating.
Oh no!
And he had to pay out on insurance. He had to pay out. Can you imagine? Millions of dollars of wine because they couldn't identify them.
Now there's that place in Long Island City, the Long Island City Wine Vault, which I've used to be my favorite place to go in there and peruse their menu and get somebody a birthday wine because it's right down over by where your old manager used to live. It's in the building where the foundry is, and they've got crazy stuff in that place. And I had walked up to the president of Arc Restaurants, and I said, Vinny, I know a guy that can take the wine off you since you're leaving it since you're moving it to the warehouse. Don't move it to the warehouse. He's like, don't worry about it. I've got people. What do you think? I'm crazy. I've been in the restaurant business how long? Blah, blah, blah. And now he's I just can't believe Cheval Blanc, dude, 1947 Cheval Blanc. They had 10 examples. 10.
The 1940, the famous, the
47.
Blood of Christ. It's called the Blood of Christ.
The Blood of Christ.
Robert Parker called it the Blood of Christ.
Yep. They had 10 examples of it.
Oh my God. I'll never know what that is like.
Yeah.
Julio says Spain makes it. Of course it does. Spain is one of the great, old world wines. There are I could count them on one hand, and Spain is one of them.
France, Spain, Italy.
The Holy Trinity.
Yeah. And Portugal a little bit. And okay. But yes, you named the three, the Holy Trinity.
That's it.
Rioja, he likes Marqués de Riscal. Everybody loves that. We love the fishnet on the bottle.
Right?
But you listen, Rioja is amazing. Ribera del Duero, amazing.
That's
Dirk's not into it.
I'm
I'm
not into it.
super
It's orange
into it.
peel wine, but it's okay.
Orange
I get
peel
it.
wine.
I get it.
It's got notes of orange peel and
Tastes like
vanilla
orange peel.
and all of that.
Dana and I run for our lives.
Listen, I will drink if all other wines in the world disappeared and they just said all we have left is Rioja and Ribera del Duero. I'd be like,
we'd
fine,
acquiesce. Yeah,
fine, fucking fine. It's amazing. It's chalky landscape, dry. The ripening happens a little earlier than all other regions, so they have to get out there sooner than France and Italy and everything and pick those grapes as fast as they can because it's so fucking hot and dry. But you know what? You wind up with a superb wine, and you know what? They're cheaper. You want the Marquez de Riscal, you can still get it for $15.
Oh, it's
and
it's $10 in New York.
$50. Right.
$10.
So yeah, and it's solid. They're mostly not corked. I don't know why Spain avoided the corked problem. I don't know if that is like some people say it's the tubes that insert the wine into the bottle. I don't know what it is. Bacteria. It's not the cork. The cork. It's a fallacy to think that the cork corks the wine. It's not. No. But I've never had a corked Spanish wine in my life. And Ribera del Duero, dude, Julio, if you like Rioja and Ribera del Duero, the holy grail is called Vega Sicilia, and they make a thing called Valbueno. And when it's exceptionally perfect, they skip it and they call it Único. Now, let me tell you something, just to give you an idea. Prince Charles, who is now King Charles of England, has the greatest wine cellar on the earth. Okay, he has shit going back to the 16th century. His favorite wine in the world is Vega Sicilia Único. This guy can drink Lafite out of his ears. He has everything he wants in the world. His favorite wine is Vega Sicilia Único. It's about $600.
So is your brother's.
Yeah, right.
It's Emmett's favorite wine.
Is stunning wine. The Spaniards, for some reason, they just didn't. They no one can get France. France is the king, right?
King.
Italy comes a second close, close second. That's late. Sorry, I'm drinking. And fucking Spain, baby, Spain. So I'm right there with you, Julio. Right there with you. If you have the opportunity, get yourself a Vega Sicilia Único. And if it's Valbuena, it's like a quarter of the price, is about $150, and it's still fucking amazing.
And you said that one is $600 a bottle?
$700
plus.
Which is nothing.
On the vintage.
Nothing. If you go for the high level of France, it's 22,000.
Yeah, no.
22,000 for a DRC.
It's the highest they go. Yeah. You know, it's like a Premier Grand Cru Classe French wine, but it's Spanish.
They don't have the prices like Italy. Even the greatest Italian wines are like 1,000, 1,200 at the very, very high end. France starts there, and then you go up. A bottle of Petrus is 5,000.
That's Patek.
It's and
Petrus is Patek.
DRC, Latache, Riesberg, all of those are fucking way.
Lange. That's I don't know what the fuck that is.
You need to be with a friend who owns a few yachts and chateaus.
I had a guy also named John who was a player. Remember the guy that paid for you guys to play an extra hour down at Ulysses years ago? Okay, so that guy was a drinker at my bar, and he saw me at this bar, and he goes, "Oh my God, that band's amazing." I said, "Oh, they're my buddies." He goes, "Dude, if I give them each $1,000, you think they'll play for an hour?" I said, "I don't know. Why don't you go find out?" And he did. And the next thing you know, they had already killed their set. Next thing you know, they're playing again. That guy has a cellar filled with DRC.
No, Jesus Christ.
He's got Latache, he's got Riesberg, he's got everything. Like, he's a crazy wine guy. He once brought a bottle of DRC into my restaurant and said, "Do you guys have a corking fee?" And I was like, "I don't think so."
God. Jesus Christ.
Just open it. That was the only time I ever tasted DRC.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just let me try it.
I said, "I'm at work right now. Can I just taste it?" Like in an hour after we opened.
He gave you some?
He gave me a little taste of it. Yeah.
I've never had DRC. Fucker.
Yeah, it was.
You have one up on me now.
So here's a funny thing. I just ran through my text real fast. Dana, his brother's wife, the incomparable Dana O'Malley. We're always saying funny shit about stuff we like and we don't like, and we both don't like Vegas Sicilia. But it's the best Spanish wine in the world because it has notes of kind of like of a burnt orange,
scorched
peel.
Orange peel.
Orange peel. It just has that, and yes. I don't like orange and chocolate or any of that stuff. So she says to me, watermelon or blank, and I'm like anything but watermelon. And I wrote to her peas because she hates peas. I said peas or Vegas Sicilia, and she said peas 100%. Vegas Sicilia is the devil's work. And that's what makes the world go round because it's one of the most highly
all right in 10 years she's going to be surrounded by bottles going I was wrong. Because do you remember trying to get Dana into France?
Oh man, it was impossible.
All she wanted was Silver Oak and shit from California, and she didn't like France. Now she's a French whore. All she wants is France. She won't touch anything but France.
That's it.
Did she ever get her watch? Remember, she was after.
No, that's being worked upon.
She wants a
work in process.
A day.
She wants a day.
Solid gold. She wants a $40,000 watch.
She deserves a $400,000 watch.
Sure, but
she's. I mean, she's one of the most incredible chicks on earth. She really is. Yeah, she's selfless, amazing, thoughtful, generous, amazing.
And now she works for TikTok. She has a lot of power.
Yeah, she does. That's a powerful organization.
John doesn't have TikTok on his phone.
I will not.
I keep sending him link.
I didn't until recently. I was guilted back into it from your brother.
But John,
read the terms.
Oh, you can't have it, right?
Just read the terms of service. I'm paranoid. I've read the terms of service, and I've been in some briefings where I'm like, oh, that's ingenious.
Oh, is that right?
I keep sending him links. He's like, I can't
open it. I can't open it. Yeah, I can't open it. I refuse to download TikTok. It's Chinese spyware that sometimes plays videos.
You're sitting at the desk. You're sitting at the desk there.
So can I ask you?
They're coming into the office, going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I can't put that on my phone because it links to your Wi-Fi and it actually can penetrate other devices that are on the same network.
Oh, great.
That's part of the problem. So if I have my government cell phone on the same network, we use a heavily encrypted VPN, but it still can get access to it. So
how does it work? What is the impetus? How does that work?
It's part of it is their terms of service. So if you actually go through TikTok's terms of service, it's fairly transparent. But the nefarious side of it, without getting into details, the problem with the American industry and the Chinese industry is that in the United States, there's limited cooperation between the government and private companies.
Okay.
So Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, they have government contracts. They will cooperate with the government, but to a limited extent. And that cooperation is very heavily regulated, not only by the government, but also by the company, because they don't want their intellectual property out. They don't want to compromise, the things that they do. But in places like China, it's one and the same. The Chinese government is so heavily involved in regulating and being involved in state industries, which is why Huawei was banned.
It's illegal.
Yeah, because they're not, and all of the American computers are, government computers are Dell. Because they can.
Why don't they use Macs?
I don't know. Actually, I've asked that question. Yeah,
there is.
I've asked that question before, as far as why they don't just. So they do use Apple products. So like a lot of government cell phones back in the day were BlackBerries. Because
that was the most security laden.
That was the most heavily.
Listen, I've got a relative that works for one of the biggest financial institutions in the world, and she's very high up. And she was a BlackBerry person for years. And then when they certified iPhone, she got to switch to iPhone. But anything involving Android is completely not allowed.
Yeah. So Apple. So like my government cell phone's an Apple. cell phone. It's
Yeah.
it's an Apple like 14 iPhone. But for the longest time it was all BlackBerry.
BlackBerry, because it had great.
It was
security,
all
yeah.
BlackBerry, yeah. And I remember I actually worked with. There's a guy that is a technical guy for us, and one of his things was breaking encryption on devices, and he actually got blacklisted in Vegas. Have you heard of the Griffin book?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so he's in that book because he got caught actually counting cards in Vegas.
Oh,
Like
how
he's one of
fun.
those guys. Yeah, he was kind of.
Why is it's not illegal to do that? It's frowned upon, right?
It's not illegal, but
It
the
can't be illegal if you're
casinos.
smart enough to do that. Then.
Yeah,
No, they
but-
figure it out real fast, and then they
But-
blacklist you.
Because the problem is the casinos are technically private entities, so they can say, "Hey, it's not illegal. We can't arrest you, but we can ban you from the casino."
Yeah.
And then word gets around.
But they're guessing,
But
right?
the
They're still
level-
guessing that you're counting because they
They're-
can't know.
Yeah, they can't really prove it, but I think it's just if you start winning too much, I think they just kind of figure it out. But this guy, he was so technically savvy that when one of the iPhones came out, and I forget which model came out, and he told us a story, he went into the memory. So he got the iPhone, he purchased it, and he just started breaking this thing down, connected it. I'm not technically savvy enough to explain how he did it, but he realized that the camera was inadvertently taking pictures while the phones were on the production line. And it was geotagging these images and storing them somewhere deep in the recesses of the phone's memory. And he found them. Somehow he found these images, and he contacted Apple, and he said, "Listen, this is who I am. This is what I found. I know you guys are very security conscious about your facilities and where you put these phones together. Just so you know,
China.
Yeah, but I found this image, and it's geotagged, and so I'm just letting you know." And he just sent an email to Apple support basically, and he said within an hour he got a phone call, and it was the vice president of North American operations for Apple, and he's like, "Hey, this is who I am. How did you figure this out? How do we stop this? Because if you found it, somebody else can find it."
That's like a white hat hacker.
Yeah, so this is the level of this guy's expertise, but he always said this about phones when we would give him a phone and say, "Hey, can you get into this phone?" If it was an Apple device, and this is, going back to 2015, he's like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Apple, yep, I can break that encryption all day." And he said, I remember one time we asked him, we're like, "Hey, well, what about a BlackBerry?" And he goes, "Listen, I could write a program that could try to decrypt a BlackBerry, but even that, if I could do it, it could take me years." And I was like, holy shit, BlackBerry is not fucking around. So, in terms of the security aspect of it, BlackBerry is where it's at, and I wish they would have stuck around. Plus, I always liked that physical keyboard. There was something about that tactile function of a keyboard.
I mean, that's just get off my lawn. Oshin accuses me of that every day, and he's right. Like I'm so afraid to let so much stuff go, and I mean, physical keyboards. Think about how inefficient and stupid it is.
Yeah, but it's.
Yeah. I just watched the new Alien movie, the last one that was by Ridley Scott. It wasn't terrible. Oshin. It really wasn't terrible.
Okay.
But man, it looked amazing. They got the tech so right. And like in 100 years, it's supposed to be 2104. I was like, wow, that's probably where we're going to be. And like,
there's no way we'll know. We can't.
There's no way we'll know. But I'm guessing, like we watch stuff now and you see big CRTs and stupid stuff. But like physical buttons, man, that is so the way of the dinosaur. God,
it is.
And I never had a BlackBerry. I had a friend who worked for BlackBerry, and I was tempted, but I never went there because I always thought they were weird.
I know guys who still use BlackBerries today.
Can they still?
The guy who owns the Pop magazine, the guy who hired me for the Canali shoot for Home Plus, he came to see me in Venice. I saw him in London then later. We're still friends, but he came here and he had a BlackBerry, and he goes, "I just don't want anyone getting into my shit." And I have photos on my phone of the two. He has the biggest collection of white gold rare Daytonas that you can't understand. He has dials that were factory experimental dials that were used before the real dial was released. Like, his collection is ridiculous, right? And we took photos on the piazza, and he goes, you can't share those. I was like, yeah, and they're still on my phone, and no one will ever see them.
You want to see one of the prettiest phones ever made? I dug this up for my viewers the other day.
What's this?
I'll never forget this because Ush and I, we're nerds, and I remember it's like, oh my god, the new operating system's coming out for fucking Tiger is coming out. Oh, Machine got the beta of it, and we're like, oh, nerdy. We're such nerds. And this is pre-iPhone. This is 2007 because that's when that came out.
Is this the Razor?
No, this is the most beautiful phone ever made. This is the Nokia 8800. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
It slides up like that.
Yeah, that was a good phone.
Yeah.
It's so fucking
Do
sexy.
you remember in Ocean's 13, Al Pacino's in Ocean's 13, and he gets a gold one delivered.
Yeah, that's the Scirocco edition. That came out after this, and then Nokia like hit the skids because Apple just destroyed the world.
Apple destroyed everyone, and they earned it.
They lost their position. Isn't that funny? Because Android is a way. Samsung is destroyed.
Are you going to go Samsung?
Listen, I'm so fucking furious. So let me just tell you a quick story because I don't want to bore anybody. But so our Italian cousins are in here. Paul's my in-laws. Paul's cousins from Italy are here, and Stefania had like all these phones with these big screens and all. They're very attractive and light and sexy. And I looked at them and they were all Motorola's. And I said, "What are these?" She looks at me. She goes, "Dirk, 100 euros." And the whole family had them. The screen was way bigger than my phone. It was way thinner. Then I looked it up, and it's a faster chip, the Snapdragon 00, whatever the fuck. I was like, I said, she goes, "How much was yours?" And I went, $1,500.
We're getting fucked. We're getting fucked with
why Apple. In the world for a guy that wants to take 30% of my fucking Patreons, people who want to help me create art and support what I do. He wants 30% of what they want to contribute. It's like, let me take 30% of your charity. Because let me be honest, you guys being Patreons and super chatting, it is charity. It's as much as like I do the work and I do all that stuff. I appreciate it. You're helping me not have to have a day job and all that stuff. Steve Jobs wants to take a piece of your charity. That's disgusting. And it should be a class action lawsuit.
It's not Steve Jobs, it's fucking Tim Cook.
It's Tim Cook. Anyway, the beautiful and talented Mr. Nathaniel Hannon sent me some pictures, and I think we should look at them.
Yeah, sure.
Just to entice you maybe just a little bit. John.
Yeah, Omega. I think it's a close run right now between VC and Omega.
But you'll save a whole lot of money. Well, not if you get
not with that.
No, not with that thing.
Look at that. Look at that.
I mean, it's also one of the most legible watches in the universe.
Yeah. That one, not the black or the green. They're not legible.
Oh, the black one, contrast. The classic Speedy is black with the white.
Oh,
with
the classic, white. Sure. I'm talking about the golds.
Oh, yeah.
That's why this is the best one, because it has contrast. And it has contrasting subdials, and that's sex. And you know what? AP fucked up. My AP has contrasting subdials, and it's beautiful. And all the new versions are, first of all, they're thicker, which is a stupid thing to do. And they don't have contrasting subdials. What's wrong with you? Like, think about the Daytona, the Paul Newmans and all of that.
And there it is, the 3861, which is the great granddaughter of the 321, which is a Lamania-based movement. It's the most modern version of the 321, which is the most heralded chronograph movement ever. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. It's one of the most beautiful things ever.
Water resistance be damned.
Yeah, Andy Dufresne's in the chat. Andy, can you send me an email to ushinamari at gmail.com? I have an issue in Vienna that I need looking at, and I'd love to speak to you about it, Andy. Ushinamari channel at gmail.com. Thank you, Andy.
I might have the banner for that. If it's here, let me find it for him. I should have.
I just need some info about Vienna.
I know. I know.
I have a family member in Vienna, and I need to. Thank you, sir. Just shoot me an email, and we'll talk. I was looking for your contact earlier, and I couldn't find it. Thank you, sir.
Give him a shout, bro. Give him a shout, bro. Look at this thing. I mean, it is one of the most gorgeous, crazy things ever.
but it's not
Nathaniel
subtle.
got it for 40 and it went up to 45 a few days later or something. It was crazy. He
Nothing
really
subtle
looked
about
out.
that. Nothing subtle about that.
It is
Yeah.
subtle, though. It is, though, because
think so?
if you're wearing a beautiful suit, people are going to
Yeah.
notice your tie, your lapel, the fabric, the shirt, and then they're just going to see that because these watches are still. I don't care how beautiful it is, what echelon it falls into. It's still an accessory to
Yeah.
whatever you're wearing.
John,
So
if you're
that's
not
just
doing
gonna be-
if you're not doing VC, where are you going other than Omega? What are you thinking? You think of
I really
Patek,
think-
Calatrava at all?
No, I really think it's between VC and Omega. I think that's
You
where I'm
mentioned
at. I mean,
AP.
APs are. I did, yeah, and APs are. I just don't know. I'd have to try one on, but I know the boutiques.
Go to
are,
Venice.
You know, yeah, it's impossible to find a boot. Just you have to make an appointment, and then I'm competing with
Are you?
artists.
Can I ask
Well,
you?
it
are
was
you
the
in
offshore.
DC?
It was
Millionaires.
It was the offshore that interested you, right?
Yeah. There's one that I found
that
on Chrono. Well, it's actually not Chrono. It's OC Watch Guy. He's second a retailer in Orange County, and he's got a couple APs on there. What were you going to ask, Dirk?
I said, what metropolitan city is closest to you?
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Yeah, so I'm in the
can't help you
Midwest. Yeah, but I think they have a boutique. I think
sure
they have.
that- I'm
I think
sure
they
that
have
they
an AP
do.
boutique.
So are you looking at a diver?
Yeah.
You're looking at this.
Like
puppy
that's the
here?
one you got, the Royal Oak Offshore. Yeah, I think that's
Offshore is certainly a big chunky watch though. So if you're going to want to wear something that's dress up, that's a big
that's
slice
the
of
thing.
the pizza.
This is the
Yeah.
ghost. This is the gray one. Then they have if the website will load, they have the blue. I like the blue a lot. If I was offered the blue, I would have taken it.
You're not interrogating foreign agents in a room though. That's like, you might be the guy in the Mission Impossible hanging from the ropes in the diamond.
That's that watch. Yeah, that's the watch of the operator that's in the field.
Yeah, this is the tactician who's gonna zip line from one building to another.
Yeah.
this-
And in real life, that guy's probably wearing a Tudor or a Seamaster.
Did you look at Tudor? What did you like in Tudor?
oh Jesus, don't go there.
Why
Yeah.
not? Tudor is
Because
good,
it's
solid.
like, I mean, you could buy 4 of them.
yeah, and save some money.
All right.
That's a
Beautifully
good.
made watches.
That's a good point. There, that's the
I
one watch
mean,
collection gone out the window
Not that
too.
we're talking one watch collection. I thought we were talking about Grail shit.
Yeah,
What Tudor? I'm just curious what Tudor you were looking
So-
at.
They're
Black
beautiful.
Bay?
the ones I like is actually the 39 mil Pelagos.
Oh yeah.
The Pelagos.
Yeah, where is it at?
The FXD or
The Pelagos. The Pelagos.
regular.
So there's two. There's the 39 mil.
There she is.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, I got an award there. Sports Watch Prize 2023. Yeah, it's the simple,
Yeah. Tool watch.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a tool watch. It's titanium. The movement on it is fantastic. I've handled that watch in real life. It's lightweight, durable, and again, a lot of versatility there.
Solid. Solid.
Yeah, solid watch.
It's Rolex. It's essentially Rolex.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, Tudor and Rolex is like the difference between a
Hyundai
Chevy,
and Genesis.
a Chevy
No.
pickup and a GMC, or a Cadillac. Like they're still GM cars.
They're still
In
GM
many
cars.
ways, Tudor are better built watches than Rolex. I've had several Daytonas at this point. Here's my Tudor. It's right in front of me as it happens. Look at that shit. I didn't pre-plan this. I'm gonna put it on. The big
Yeah,
fucking two-tone Tudor. The beefiness. I mean, the size is an issue because you need the wrist for it.
Yeah, I got about a 7.25
That's where I
inch
am.
wrist. So
I'm
I'm not.
saying exactly that.
I could pull that off.
You, me, and Nathaniel are that.
Yeah.
He's got like a tree trunk.
Fucking this thing is a beast. You
Yeah.
can't break this watch. And when you unscrew the crown on a Rolex, sometimes you feel like you have to be delicate, like you're twisting a
Yeah.
toothpick. Sorry, I have ash.
I felt that with the Pelagos when you unscrew the crown, it's like, oh,
Well, holy shit!
it's
Like
got
it's
some heft on it.
monstrous.
Yeah,
heft.
you can feel the power of that movement.
Yeah, Tudor are not to be underestimated, kids.
Yeah, I always say
he's giving them shit because he has a fucking Rolex.
Well, I just think a lot of times it's one of those like Rolex is a men's watch, Tudor is a man's watch.
Right.
Don't tell that to Carolyn Martin. She's got more Tudors than any man I know.
She has every Tudor.
She has every.
She has the 54 and everything.
She does. Yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic, and they're bringing.
What about the GMT? You into that?
I actually like the aesthetics of that a lot. I like that it's got the old Rolex.
Yeah, it looks like the
vibes.
old Rolex. What was it? I can't remember the reference.
It's the vintage Coke. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say though, if Rolex came out with a Coke, I'd be all over that.
They would. Yeah. They're not doing it because you want it.
I know.
Well, they did come out with a Coke. They came out with
they came out with this one. Yeah,
and Tudor, and they released a solid gold sea dweller on the other side.
And I know this is petty, but those faux rivets, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah. I wish they would just have
God, please, could they get rid of those? They're the worst.
Yeah, I've got them. Have the bracelet
because it's an oyster bracelet.
I've got them. You know how much I give a shit about them?
You don't.
Zero.
Yeah, you probably don't even notice them.
I don't even notice them. You know what the great thing about this two-toneness on this watch is? The gold in the center, as opposed to Rolex, is satin. So the gold center links on the two-tone Rolex are high gloss and satin steel next to them. This thing has satin gold and satin.
Oh yeah,
you see, it's subdued,
and it's less of a contrast because that's what's kept me away from the two-tone stubs. At least the modern ones, because of that kind of contrast. That looks bad. Yeah, that looks way better.
It's a fucking beast. It's like one of the best watches I've ever owned. Love this thing.
That's very you.
And you can get it's very me. You can get one for about now about $5,000.
Yeah.
I mean this is 8,800 from Tudor. On the market now about $5,500.
Yeah, and this is where I might say, you know what, the AD is overrated.
Do you want sport? Are you looking for sport? Sport meets dress.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. It's just that one and done that the versatility of it is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm gonna, and I know how obsessive I can be about things, so I know that if I go beyond one watch, I'm just gonna go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah,
and start. It's like an alcoholic that just wants to you can't have that one drink, you know what's going to happen if you have that one drink.
That first drink is
that's the hard.
The first drink is the choice. The rest of them are not your choice.
Yep. And that's where I feel like I'm going to get into that. If I just stick to one, then I can contain myself.
Julio Rodriguez has an 8-inch wrist. I was like, I just sent you a private message. I'll give you my phone number.
Hey, you know what they say about men with big wrists?
Big watches.
Yeah.
You know what they say about big feet, right? Big shoes.
Big shoes.
Let me just answer this because it's late and I'm drinking. Hey, Ocean, why don't you adopt some immigrants and live with them in your nice apartment in Venice? You can go to San Marco and have spritzes together. Let me tell you something, Pezonetos. I am an immigrant. Fuck you.
But bum.
2 out of 3 people here are immigrants.
What do you think of this? Because this is a website that I go to on the daily. What do you think of that thing?
Oh my God. I mean, I'm not crazy about that dial, but
no, really.
No, but I mean, moon phase is lovely and tech, but
but you're talking.
This is a website called. I'm not going to promote them because
God only knows what the price tag on that is. Though.
What do you think that costs?
I would say 60.
30.
Really?
Yeah. 30.
Jesus.
It is the 51446J in yellow gold annual calendar.
It's an annual calendar for 30.
Yep. 30
You're
millimeter.
on that
39
horrible site out of Long
Yeah, but like,
Island.
you know what? Listen, I know.
Stop.
I know.
Stop. The conversation's over.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but those guys have been grabbed for a lot of shit.
What do you mean? David's got 3-4 watches from there.
He looked out. Don't
I've
be
heard
using them as
I've
a
heard
bar.
I've heard a lot of
That's right.
controversy
But
with
that-
those
we get
Don't
in
guys.
use
their
them as a
stores.
bar of prices or anything like that. Half their shit doesn't have card or box. Where the
all the
fuck
ones
did
he's
it
gotten
come
so
from?
far have boxing papers, all of them.
Yeah, because he bought a Mega for $3,000.
No,
You're
he
talking
bought
Patek or
Cartier.
Rolex.
He bought Cartier. Got a
I
beautiful.
don't know. It's that's risky shit. I wouldn't use
guess
that
it
as a bar. You're in New York and you're looking at those prices. They're like, ugh.
We got a couple of super chats in here. Let me get them going. Hold on a second. Ray earlier on. Sorry, Ray, darling. Chill Lachine, positive waves, minority, and then the rest of whatever your hieroglyph is. I don't know what you're having. 19 crimes. I love you, man. But Jay,
Ray, speaks.
I love you, and I'm going to give you a full on the mouth kiss when I meet you in person. But I don't know what any of that.
Ray speaks in gypsy verses.
I love.
It's Morse code for the ship.
Do. He does these abbreviates. I don't get them because it's all the west of Ireland.
It is Morse code. It's hello O'Sheen. Stop.
You make no mistake. You earn your money. You're a very sweet guy, and thank you very, very much. Nathaniel Han and $4.99. It's less subtle than a G-Shock, but I literally wear the Speedy with anything, and he does. Even though he was beautifully appointed the night I saw him, that watch. And I know I'm the Omega Speedmaster faggot. I know, I get all that. However, that watch dresses up so beautifully, especially a gold one. Sure, when you wear a watch like that, everyone, believe me, I was wearing a Milgauss that night and nobody looked at me. No one. Everybody was staring at Nathaniel's wrist that night. Everyone was looking at his wrist because it just that bracelet. It's not quite AP because nothing glitters like that bracelet. Nothing in the world glitters like that, and that's not what you want. The 3861, the new iteration of that bracelet, it glitters in a way that's understated and it's incredible. And when it peeked out from under his sleeve, every time he did it, I went, "Oh God." I just was like, "Oh my God, it's overwhelming."
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, and in the avatar, I've got my sub, and that actually, I think, fits me probably the best out of all the watches.
What about something like this? Is that too old man for you?
It's a little old man.
I would take that.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there.
We're all going there, baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna get there eventually. But
we're all going Calatrava. Eventually,
Calatrava or a date 8. I think that's
date 8. You got to be careful with them because those can look. You don't want to look too gavon with them either.
Yeah, that's
$5. In my opinion, the Passion Constantine Patrimony is the perfect watch for a King's Council.
Amazing. The Patrimony is unbelievable. I'll pull up a link.
Pull it up so we can masturbate towards that.
The Patrimony and the new Patrimonies. Oh my God, they're
pull those up. Let him see that.
VC really did it for me when you went to the expo in Switzerland and you had those.
Yeah.
I know the images.
With the green?
Yeah, I know the images didn't do it justice, but my God,
are you in the market? I mean, that's big.
I'm not. That's a little bit outside my price range.
What about a Parmigiani? Have you ever looked into them? They're very interesting. What are they? A Parmigiani.
Parmigiani.
Oh, a Parmigiani. Well, I'd hate to get it seized at customs.
Who's been watching my show?
look at this shit. Look at this.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Fucking unbelievable.
Look at that strap.
Ridiculous.
Oh, how much is that? Oh,
I think it's 21 for this one.
Oh,
that's within the price range.
Oh my!
But really, the ones.
That simple one with the date.
That's 55,000 with the moon phase.
There's one with the simple date. In the image, if you scroll up, the one the guy's wearing. Yeah, which one is that?
That disappeared.
Is that the same line? That's the same line.
Looking for it. Yeah, it's Patrimony. They're beautiful.
Yeah, that's stunning.
They're stunning, but the green ones, the green rose golds. I mean, they're
those overseas.
That's the $55,000 one, right? In white gold.
Yeah.
That's one of the most beautiful watches I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, the moon phase. It's so well done there.
Jesus Christ.
And I know everybody, drools about the overseas. And actually the historique.
Yeah.
The history is amazing.
Those are amazing too. But those
Or
are
222. Do you not like that?
But those
The
are pricey
222.
too.
Yeah. Well, because they're so
This
hot
one.
right now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, sure.
God, they're just, I don't know why
Brad Pitt
they're
has one of those. He
Yeah,
wears
Brad
that
Pitt wears that.
around.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
ladies' watch, in my opinion. That's a ladies' watch. That's what
God.
ladies' watches look like. It's a bracelet. It just looks like an amulet.
It's a bracelet with a watch.
Yeah. I'm not into it. It's for the ladies.
I don't know. There's something about that. I saw a guy in Florida with a Aquanaut, and it was a rose gold Aquanaut with the brown strap. And I was
That's
like,
Paul
Jesus.
McCartney's watch.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this guy. He was driving a G-Wagon, so
That's game over right now.
Yeah, that's a one.
But-
That's
Oisin went to the watch show. Remember, you went to it and it looked black too, right?
The lighting was wrong.
yeah. Well, it was
That
like
thing-
in a case, right? It was in a case
Yeah,
and
the lighting was
artificial
That-
lighting.
Oh Jesus!
wrong. That
Christ.
shit.
Yeah.
That is not to be believed.
Come on.
That
And
is
the watch world is so fucked up because there are people that will hate on that watch because of the two crowns. They're gonna, that's not
sure.
symmetrical. That's not symmetrical. I don't like that.
Yeah, well,
Look at
it's
this.
waterproof.
God, look at that thing. Jesus.
Yeah, that's not even fair.
Yeah, I gotta like write a best-selling book to get that.
That is one of the most beautiful things ever. Now it doesn't come with that leather strap in the box, does it?
It does. It comes with all the
Oh,
rubber, the
come
rubber, the
on.
leather, everything.
No,
Come on.
Of course it does.
No.
Honey, we're
The Omega does
remortgaging
that.
the
You know what
house.
Rolex gives you? They give you nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, they give you a shitty
No,
box.
you don't. Yeah, you shouldn't take your Rolex off your. I mean, it might be fun for the summer, put it on rubber, but the Rolex is all about the strap integrated and so on. But I
love the Oyster Flex. I love it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
do
actually
love
do too. I've tried
I
those
love
on, and I tried a Sky Dweller on the Oyster Flex, and
Yeah.
actually, yeah, it's beautiful. And a Daytona, a chocolate dial Daytona. Man, those
Ray
are
Ray's in with 20 balloons, right? I love two of ye. See no cryptic enigma stuff here. There, sorry, I am too intelligent in my communications. Dude, I'm telling you, you are the future of communication because sometimes I don't understand your stuff, but I love you dearly. You know that. And I'll kiss you on the mouth when I see you. Wearing my Casio F91W terrorist watch. Gonna call Nathaniel for a proper chat. And you know what I'm gonna do for you, baby? For that, because I know I haven't been doing this for a while. I'm gonna give you my boyfriend. Just a little bit of them because you've been contributing all night. Thank you, baby.
the Casio F91 whiskey. That is the that
I
is
have a
the-
Everybody needs
Casio.
one.
I have a
Everybody
Casio that
needs an
I've
F91.
never worn. Where is it? Oh, I think
It
I
is
put it
the
away.
preferred
I
watch.
have the yellow one. That's all I know what it is. It's the yellow. Look at that. Oh God, in heaven's name.
Jesus.
That
Yeah,
is
that's
beyond
another.
gorgeous.
That's another level.
It's the next level. I mean, Rolex can't even
Perfection.
shine that shoe in any way, shape,
No,
or
that's
form.
the ceiling. That's a ceiling of another building.
It is. That's the Segura Familia or St. Patrick's Cathedral or the Vatican. That's
Yeah.
a titan. It's just a titan. It's crazy.
Well,
get me wrong.
I think
love
the
my
case.
Millie.
I think the case has been made. If you're going to have a one watch collection, have the one watch.
You can have a shitload of other cool things like a couple of Timexes, and they're fun.
Yeah.
Kick arounds, get a couple of moon swatches. Those are cheap and fun.
Yeah.
I wear my Snoopy Timex every day. I wear it every day. I walk around the street with this thing. I love it from Melly C. And I love my Charlie Brown one. You know what? Listen,
Yeah.
for your one big heavy hitter watch, if you're
That's
going to
it,
take that
yeah.
investment and turn it around, why shouldn't you get a VC? Why shouldn't you?
Yeah. I think that's where I'm leaning.
Something
Easy E,
cool.
I'm gonna
about
kill
VC
you.
that
I'm going to kill him. That he actually typed the word paddock out.
I-
You know I have a bone to pick with you, Easy E. You know how much I love
he's
you.
he's
You know how
pulling your
all the-
tail. He's pulling
I
your
know it is.
tail.
All the watch douches in the world, when you ever see
Paddock.
the groups, they're like paddock. I'm like, that's a place where you put horses at night, you cunt. Paddock, the Patek World Timer. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Rolex armor
except
people.
I'm no
But
longer
I love the
the
fact that
globetrotter.
I love that he's drifting into the VC world because I don't think VC is the underdog of the Trinity.
Yeah.
but it's kind of got that coolness, you know. If you see a guy with a VC, you're just like, oh fuck!
Yeah, I know. I'm
Like,
okay.
he didn't go for the hype. He went for the
he went for the shit.
smart shit.
Yeah. That's the $1 million painting that nobody recognizes on your wall.
Right. You just realized you had that Vermeer under your bed. It was your grandmother's bed. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful thing. And I love the fact that you're going in that direction. Because I remember when he went to Geneva, he was obsessed with that watch. And we were like, oh my God, we can't wait to see it in real life. And he went there and the lighting was so bad, the dial looked black. It just black.
I think just VC just, because I think when you're buying a watch, you're buying the marketing too. Whether people want to admit it or not, you're buying the marketing.
Well, Rolex is all the marketing.
You're buying into it. And it's kind of it's weird because I think it became ubiquitous. Like when Apple iPhones first came out, it was rare to see somebody with an iPhone. And it was kind of a statement that you had an iPhone. I have
3 of the original ones.
Yeah. But like now they're so ubiquitous. Everybody has an iPhone. That's
not in America. They do.
Yeah. That's kind of the standard, but I feel like that's where Rolex is now. It kind of, and I think as hard as Rolex tries to break into that Holy Trinity area because they're making more and more expensive watches, more elaborate watches, I don't think they're ever really going to get there because the die has been cast.
I just want to upset the conversation now that we've arrived at VC.
You're pulling out some
I just want to fuck things up a little and throw a spanner in the works.
Damn it.
Just to fuck you up a little.
Pull your dick out and throw it on the bar.
Just to make you reconsider.
Look at that bracelet.
Yeah, the bracelet is nuts. Yeah, that's
just to make you think, sometimes chocolate cake is chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Sometimes the blonde with the big boobs is the woman you love.
I mean, that's it. If you ever have doubts about getting rid of all your watches and keeping one, I think you just answered that question right there.
I know that's not true though, because at the end of the day, if he had to get rid of all his watches, he'd keep his Speedmaster.
I think you keep 2. Yeah, you keep that in the Seamaster.
That's because of the nostalgia of that.
Yeah, it's in his heart. You can always just get the other shit back.
Does that have and it has a date?
Yeah, it has the day.
Fuck you.
It's at 4:30.
Contrasting subs, which the new ones don't have.
Yeah,
and the most important part, 11 millimeters thick.
Yeah, that's
the new ones are 12.5. Yeah. That's the most important part. It's smooth all the way around.
I'm gonna pay. I'll be right back.
So it's like the greatest watch ever. God, this or the non-chronograph version doesn't matter.
Yeah, that is a piece of cake right there. That's a chocolate cake.
King. Yeah.
Man. Well, that did upset the apple cart a little bit.
That didn't work, did it? There's 2 big heavy hitters right there.
Yeah. But I think you're right. I think I would glance at the Rolex and keep walking, but I would stop and look at the AP. Even if I had a VC on my wrist, I would still appreciate. And I love Rolex. There's nothing bad I can say about Rolex, but I think part of the transition is the higher caliber of watchmaking, but also I think the crowd gets thinned out a little bit. I don't think VC owners are shitting on each other about which VC they have and which one they got from the AD. I think that conversation is just not even being had.
No, that's gone. Yeah,
it's a different population of watch enthusiasts, and it's funny too how Rolex being in that middle tier. Casio owners are very civil towards each other, and Seiko owners, and then the higher end guys are very civil towards each other, and it's a smaller subsect. But the guys in the middle, it's like that's where the wars are, and that's where the dick measuring contests are. And I think I just kind of like getting out of that whole thing because, like I was telling Dirk, you're buying the marketing. You know, whether you like it or not, you're wearing the marketing, you're buying the marketing, and there's something understated about these AP, Vacheron, and even Patek that you're not getting.
You should get yourself a Paddock.
Get myself a Patek from 47th.
Yeah, that's funny what you just said about the middle tier guys. Even if you want to consider, I mean, Rolex is probably in the upper to mid tier, but
it's upper middle class. Yeah,
but like that's when everybody goes, yeah, fuck Omega, fuck Rolex, fuck. I mean, it's just nonsense. How about just a watch that speaks to you, and that's all. And fun.
Yeah. There's a thing about because if you have a Rolex sub, date, no date, Explorer 1, 2, then that's cool. But if you're going into the day dates at the high level with the diamonds, why don't you just go up? Like, why don't you really go up? That's the argument I would make. Like, you want a fucking Rolex, no date sub or date sub, fucking solid. Yeah, fucking yeah.
I have the coolest Rolex.
But if you go up into the high, I mean, you have a great Rolex to watch.
This is the greatest.
If you're trying to flex in the Rolex world, why don't you just go there and
that's like
never
flexing
seen it in the wild.
Flexing in the Rolex world is like buying a $90,000 Toyota. Like, just buy a luxury vehicle.
Yeah, move up and
move up the tier. You have the money.
Yeah.
Everybody's now buying in America. They're buying those Genesis cars, and they're attractive. The designs are nice, but they're Hyundais.
Yeah, it's a Hyundai,
and they're spending $80,000. You know what you can get for $80,000? You can get a Maserati SUV for $65,000. Wouldn't you rather have a Maserati? Wouldn't you rather have an Italian car? Why would you want to buy something that is, it's where is Hyundai for? Is it Korean?
Korean, yeah.
It's a Korean subcompact car company that branched out, and now they make luxury. I'm not saying that they're not nice cars. They're very attractive. That SUV is gorgeous. It's great looking, but the price is ridiculous.
Yeah, for what you're getting. Yeah. Well, it's like the difference between Lexus and Toyota. Lexus is Rolex, Toyota is, Tudor.
Tudor, right, yeah.
But if you're getting a pickup truck, just get a Tundra. That's the pickup truck you want to get. But if you're going to spend $90,000 on a Lexus,
you don't want a Ford.
That is the American. I actually have a Expedition. That's one of my.
I mean, if you're going to be a man, get a Ram or get a F-150. Yeah.
But those
the biggest dick on the road.
Those Tundras are solid too. I mean, they're amazing trucks, and those things will run forever. I mean, a Toyota is like
those never Land Cruisers. People have them from the 60s.
Yeah, those are incredible cars.
They still have them because they destroyed. Because Land Rovers, notoriously, those cars are garbage. They have so many problems. Those Range Rovers. But the Land Cruiser, I see 70s Land Cruisers on the street at least once or twice a month, and they're still running.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
Oh well, I wish I could say you guys made this easier, but
no, we haven't.
You've narrowed. Well, you have narrowed the field, I think.
Vacheron Constantin or bust.
I think I'm leaning VC
or a beautiful gold subby,
or
a Speedy.
Yeah,
you're done with Rolex though. You're done with that company.
I think I am. Yeah, I think I'm moving off that brand. If I'm going to be a one watch guy, I think it's going to be something that's worthy of a single watch type of status, where I'm not looking at the value. I don't care about the aftermarket. After MSRP costs, I'm not worried about any of that. It's not even in the conversation because you're just going to own it and love it. And that money is actually spent. And again, it'll retain value, obviously, but I'm not going to be, looking at the watch market going, well, I got this from the AD and now it's worth double what I paid. Do I really want to be wearing this thing? I could just sell it and get something else. It doesn't even enter the conversation.
That's a whole different kind of watch buyer anyway.
And it is, yeah. And I think that's what changed. I think when I got into it early on, I was preoccupied with the cost because it was so new. It was like a shock to the system where it's like I'm used to wearing, $100 or $200 watches, and I'm spending $10,000 on a watch. So the value retention was kind of in the forefront of my mind. But as I'm getting older and progressed, I'm like, well, you know what? If I die, I can leave this thing to, my family, and if they want to sell it, they can sell it, and they'll just get their money back or a little bit under, but they can just wear it. So
Right.
it's more of the long game, I think, at this point than the short-term gains.
It should just be the game that you want to be in. It should just be the one that speaks to you, the one you'd say, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's all it should be. It should never.
And I think VC just taps into that.
Wow. Nice. Thank you, Pepsi.
Yeah. Thank you, Rolex, for letting me make my way through your catalog.
Yeah. Well, listen, a lot of guys have made their bucket on the bubble. They bought and sold at the right time, and he could have made a fortune if he was a flipper. Machine's not a flipper. He rarely, when he does, it's rare. It's I know that the hate streams love to say whatever they say, which is nonsense. He's my BFF, so I know what he does. That guy could have made a fucking killing on his AP. It was $180,000 at one point.
Yeah. And to me, flipping is you buy a watch with no intentions of wearing it.
Of course not.
That's flipping. If you own a watch for a year and you wear it and then you decide, you know what, I'm not in love with this thing anymore, I want to move on to a different piece. You're not a flipper.
I blame the whole thing on my friend who's coming to town soon, who has that collection of APs, the fucking sapphire covered ones. Because when I went to see him, this thing was still close to 100 at the time, and he was like, listen, I can make you a cash offer on it now, but I don't think you should sell it because I think it'll go to 200,000. And he goes, anyway, I need to fly you out to Monaco. I'll send a helicopter. I need to fly you out there, and we'll all have dinner with like the guys from AP. Don't wear a fucking Rolex. He's like, wear that watch. Yeah. And I was like, all right.
And are you going to meet Goldfinger while you're there? And
so when he comes with his collection of sapphire shit, I'll be like, by the way, you stiffed me on 60 grand.
Oh, wow. Who was to know? First of all, that was out of control. You got in at the right time. Hey, that girl that I had a girl who worked, who was a customer of mine at the Fiend of a Farmer, and she wanted to remember when she wanted to get the rose gold Daytona black dial, go with the rose gold subs, and I was like, okay, so we found one for her. She got it for $38,000, and like within a month, that thing was like 70. And I told her,
it was a crazy moment. Yeah,
I said, get out, because you know what she said. I don't love the watch. I know it's worth something. I said, you got it at the most amazing price ever.
Yeah.
And then she goes, I can't believe no one told me. I said, I told you, get out.
Yeah.
You know what? You can now get whatever the fuck you want. You can get three of whatever you want.
And that's the curse of getting it from the AD and having that connection, because you're getting it at the lowest price point, and it's the newest watch.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it did for me with the Pepsi. When I got that call, I was like, oh shit.
I mean, that's the unicorn. I mean, a Pepsi at the AD.
Yeah, with absolutely no spend. I didn't drop a dime in there besides that watch.
We know why they gave it.
Well, yeah, we all know. We all know.
What? You blew.
They were like,
right?
Hey, this dude.
Yeah, just
who do you got to blow for that Pepsi?
No, I just inconspicuously mentioned what I did, and my salesperson happened to be a guy my age that was probably just like, oh, you do what? So I played that up. I mean,
James Bond. James.
You got to work with what you got. So
sure.
He came back 8 months later, and I got that phone call. So
you didn't flash the badge, did you?
No, I actually didn't. I went in, and I because at the last moment where he said, "Let me get your info because I'm going to put you on the list," air quotes. I said, "Let me just give you my business card because it'll save you some typing."
Dude, I just found a scratch on my my milk house that I never saw before.
Where?
Right here.
On the side of the.
It's on the oyster case.
Yeah, all right, that's fine. Let it scratch.
I never fucking saw that before.
Let it live. Let it live.
Let it breathe. It's like
Wait,
a fine
this is-
wine.
I only
Let
have
it
one
breathe.
scratch on that thing, and I just saw it.
Well, now you have another one. Don't worry.
And take the tape off. Come on.
No. I don't want to do that.
Take the tape off.
No. Here's the
It's
tape.
funny because this guy would never sell this watch
Never.
because of
Yeah.
the sentimental.
No, it has
value.
nothing to do with that. I
So
just love
why
how
is
glittery.
it? Yeah, okay.
The scratches are part of
I
it.
guess
man.
it's part of it. I'll just have to, like, you know, my Speedy's got, you know, a bunch of, like, because I wear it freaking every day pretty much.
Right.
And I look at it and I go, yeah. This thing, I just go, I know I shouldn't.
It's like a
Just
jewel.
just take the tape off.
That's
It's like
shocking.
having plastic on your couch. Come on.
If I wasn't 3 glasses of wine in right now, I would be way more upset.
Nah, there's nothing.
I'd be like, oh my God, how did that
How
happen?
bad
Where's
is
my
the
tape
scratch?
go?"
It's not bad, is it? It's like
It's
not a gouge.
not great. I don't know if my camera's going to pick it up. But
Where did you get it? Probably from that.
I have
microphone.
no idea. I can't even imagine how I got that. I can't even imagine.
Let me zoom in.
There's
on you.
no way you can see.
Let's
it 'cause
make
of
you
my
full
green
screen here.
shit. There's no way
I
to
can't
see it.
really see it. No.
Look, I've got a
He's got
protective
tape
cover on the back. No, it's a foil wrapper on the back.
Oh my god, you
Oh,
love that
God,
thing.
man.
I do. You can't
Listen,
see
when
it.
you send
See it?
that in for service,
Where
no-
is it?
No
In
one
the
will ever
middle?
know.
It's right in the middle. Hold on.
Oh, I see it.
Hey, whatever,
It's
let
going.
it live.
Right there.
It's going
Let
up
it
and
live.
down.
It's going up and down.
Yeah,
Oh,
let
Like
it
I
live.
can't
nothing.
even imagine because I'm so
Okay,
careful
first of
with
all,
it.
that's buffed out in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's
any watch
that's
store.
nothing. That's
It's
nothing.
nothing. It's
I know.
buffed out immediately. But
Well,
don't
look,
buff
in
it.
a
Don't
year's
please
time,
don't
I'll
buff
bring
it
it
out.
first. I'm
Just
not
let
going to
it
touch
scratch.
it. Oh God,
Let
no.
it just let it live.
I'm not going to take a
And
Cape Cod
someday
cloth to
you
that
might go,
thing.
you know, there are too many scratches. I want it buffed up to look new, and you get someone pro to do it.
No, I'm going to
and
bring
they'll
it to
just give
Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, give it a light touch,
Yeah.
and you'll be fine.
No, I'll
Yeah.
just go right straight up to Fifth.
It
They'll
gives
just-
it gives it character.
I've heard that if you go up there with your watch, oftentimes they'll give you a quick buff out for nothing.
RC in New York, yeah.
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 I've heard that.
There
Yeah,
you go.
you just sit and wait, and they'll do it. Yeah.
I'm not going to go there now, but anyway.
Don't be upset. It's okay.
I'm
The
not.
first-
I've had 3
the
glasses
first
of wine,
one
so I
is-
don't really give a shit right now. But I'm like, tomorrow I'll be like, oh my God, were those scratches real? Did I dream that?
Well,
It's a tool watch.
it is. It is a tool watch, and tools get scratches on them because you use them.
You know, it's like
It's like having a pristine wrench.
here's a great example of my.
pristine.
Even though you'll be able to see all these, like, because my guitar is green and I have a green
Yeah.
screen. See those?
Yeah,
This
but
is
we
my
love those.
this is my beautiful Telecaster.
Yeah, but we
That's-
love that shit. We love the
That's
wear.
got like a couple of dents and nicks in it.
Dude, my
and-
Rickenbacker is near you. How many fucking how much wear is on my Rick?
Hold on.
Yeah, there's my Rick. That's 1973.
He's got the
Look
big.
at the
this-
wear.
this
That's
is
all
the
the
wear.
millions of concerts right
That's
there.
a million
Oh,
concerts, right?
That's perfect, man.
Here's the back of that.
Oh, it's a
But
beautiful.
this is a 1973 Rickenbacker.
Same age as me. Same month.
Yeah. He's got, you know how guys all want the birth year watch? He's got the birth year Rickenbacker with all the
Oh,
First
ye-
month.
yellowed, all the bindings all yellowed.
yeah, it's beautiful, man. That's
this-
One of the greatest
Listen,
It's-
you know what somebody said to me today? Ashina, and you'll fucking laugh at this. I was talking to a guy earlier. Oh no, I was talking to David, my father-in-law, and we were in the Beatles Paul McCartney exhibit, and there's pictures of him. It's early, so it's when they came to New York and all that stuff. And there was a couple of pictures after the fact, and he had a Rickenbacker, and he's like, "You like those?" I said, "Well, I like a 4001 bass. I've never ever touched any of their guitars." And he goes,
Yeah.
"You prefer that?" I said, "I prefer that over everything.
Rick bass. Sure.
A Rick bass over everything, because nothing sounds like that."
Yeah.
And I always tell people not to nerd out, but put on Roundabout by Yes and tell me that's not the greatest bass sound you ever heard in your life. It is. Just is.
Oh,
But that thing's got a ton of nicks on. But here's a really cool part about this.
Look at the show the neck. That was
Yeah.
reconnected.
He had to replace
broke
his
it.
headstock.
oh yeah. I mean that's
I fell on a stage in Milwaukee and smashed my bass. I think that video. Let me go look for that video.
scars
Yeah.
remind us that the past was real.
A lot of
Oh,
people
I love
say
that quote.
a lot of people say that when a headstock has to be replaced on an instrument, it makes the guitar stronger.
I'm trying to search for that quote. Our scars remind us that the past was real. I'm looking for that quote in my head right now. That's a great movie.
I feel like that's a song lyric.
Is it?
It might be a song lyric.
I'm gonna look for
All
this.
I know is in the new version of the 4K Abyss, they took the Nietzsche quote out.
Oh yeah.
When you look into the abyss looks back at you. It's not in the movie anymore.
Really?
Like,
Look at this.
why did they do
16 years ago, guys. 16 fucking years ago. Oh my god, it's still on YouTube.
Do you have the actual break?
This is some Claire Rooney. Claire Rooney, some girl was at the Summerfest concert
Okay.
and fucking filmed.
Give
and
us
I
the volume,
fell-
bitch.
And this is where you fell?
Yeah, I fall on the thing on the on like a fucking mic. Look at me going mad. A mic case thing or plug-in thing. I fell over. Look, boom. Kneecap came out. Kneecap.
Oh, that was. I remember you told that story.
Yeah.
Fucked
Yeah,
yourself up.
bass.
And you
I've
finished the
never
set,
seen
right?
this.
Look, the headstock was broken. Look, I stood up on the fucking kneecap. Oh my god! And the band after us, we had toured with them. I can't remember the name of them. And he had the same bass, and he handed me his bass because he loved my bass sound. The lads, they take the bass off, they hand me a new bass. That fucking crazy.
What did he hand you? A precision?
No, the band after us, we had toured with them, and he loved my bass sound, so he bought the same bass.
Oh,
So he had the same bass.
why did he play trombone?
Play trombone.
I don't know. Fucking metal.
What song was this, by the way?
The Eye.
Oh shit!
Bass
heavy too.
Look at me limping.
Yeah, you're hobbling around.
Yeah, because I just pushed my kneecap.
He's like,
back.
"Fuck my kneecap. Where's my bass?"
Look,
Gotta finish
that
this song.
bass. Look, it's the same bass. It was the lads from the next band, and he loved my bass sound. And he had bought the same bass in the months that we hadn't seen each other. And he goes, "Use my bass."
Oh wow!
Yeah. And it was, practically the same.
You probably tripped over your own wire.
No, I didn't. I know. Excuse me. I know exactly what I felt. Don't.
Well, what happened?
It was a wire microphone input box.
Oh, was the
it was
XLR
left
box
behind me, and it was a big
Oh,
box.
those
and
big
I stood back
fuckers.
on it, and it flipped me over.
Why was that? Why was that on the stage that you could traverse?
Exactly. And then there was a lawsuit.
Oh, was there?
We went into a lawsuit. Yeah, they had to compensate me.
Oh, good for you, because that should
Look, it's
never
way higher
be.
because the guy is really short. It's like what right up over me.
You're like, it won't be long. Yeah, it won't be long.
I think the lads are like, "What's wrong with our bass player? He's out of his mind."
You're lucky it wasn't tuned to like E flat or something.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was fine.
You guys
Colin's
always
like,
tuned to
"There's a
440,
pic.
right?
There's a pic. Colin was like, "What the fuck is happening to this guy?" Oh shit, it was rough. I never watched this video.
I've
Can you
never
believe it?
seen this.
You know why I never watched this video? Because the pain of the
yeah.
fall. When I tried to watch it, I was like, I can't watch it because I could feel the pain.
Sure.
This is the first time in 16 years I watched this video. It's not nuts.
Never seen this. Didn't know it existed. I've watched Summerfest, but I've only seen the daylight portion.
That's fucking crazy.
This is the Sheryl Crow show, right?
No, that's completely. This is
Summerfest.
Summerfest. No. It was no. Sheryl Crow was down in Florida. This was Milwaukee.
Oh.
Summerfest in Milwaukee.
Oh.
Sheryl Crow was a different thing. It was daytime. Sheryl Crow was daytime.
Oh, I always thought that was the same show because that's also called Summerfest.
Is it? Yeah, I guess.
No idea.
There's 10,000, 12,000 people. And then somebody put it on YouTube. This is way back in the early days of YouTube as well. You can tell by the video quality. It's like
Sure.
one of those flip phones.
It was a camcorder or something.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a question for you, Shane. How come Safari likes to default to the lowest possible quality?
I don't know, because it's not owned by Chrome.
Like when you go on Chrome and you watch YouTube, instantly HD. But if you go and watch any video on YouTube on Safari, it will give you the lowest resolution and you have to switch it manually.
They're at war. Because
That's what it is?
the Samsung guy and the Chrome guy, they're the same guy, I think, originally.
Right. Yeah,
They were at war with Steve Jobs.
Oh.
And they hated each other. And they stole the swipe to open your phone thing and everything. And Steve wasn't happy. So there's been an ongoing feud.
Yeah. And now they have to deal with that cunt.
Right.
Who's the worst?
Tim Apple.
Oh, God, Tim Apple. Fuck you. Listen, you tired old queen. Stop taking creators' money. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. I'm going to have your card taken away. I'm going to call the council, the general council, and I'm going to have his card taken away. And once your card is taken away.
Jocelyn, you're right. Oof. You can see the knee swelling. Yeah. It starts swelling, and I play 3 or 4 more songs with the knees completely swollen. Then they dragged me off to hospital. And one of the crew walks up to me. I took the bass off. I walked off after we finished the set. And this guy comes up and goes, now we know what crazy Irishman means.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm going to give you a gift. Don't tell anybody. Shake my hand. And I shook his hand and I felt a lump in his handshake. And it was a Vicodin that size. And I popped it. Because he knew the fucking hours I had ahead of me. When I got to the hospital, they were like, well, you put the patella back in. So
they popped it right back on the site?
I popped it back in.
You did it.
Well,
I just read Dave Grohl's book, when Dave Grohl fell off the stage and broke his fucking leg in like 50 places. That motherfucker, somebody reset something, and then he went back on stage and he finished the show, and then they took him to the hospital. Yeah. And that guy's a maniac. And
so you see,
they had to reset everything when he got back there.
Right. You see them trying to pull me up, and I'm pushing. You can see I'm pushing the patella back in.
Oh,
I just whacked it back in.
Out of your mind. Yourself. What is wrong with you, caveman?
No, because it was over the right side of my leg, and it happened on my other leg years earlier. So I knew the drill, and I felt it was over there. I put my hand down. I could feel there's something wrong with the leg shape. It was all square because it's not supposed to be square. And I went, oh, there's the patella. And I fucking whacked it. I just pulled it back in. And then they pulled me up onto my feet.
How many tunes did you have left for that show?
There's 3 or 4 songs left. And I kept playing them. And you know what? I kept doing the double hand thing on the keyboards.
On the keyboards, yeah.
And I'm using my right leg to push the pedals. The right leg was the one that was swelling. So I was literally like picking my weight up and dropping the limp leg down on top of the pedals. I'll never forget it. But we got through the set and we finished the show and I was like, oh, off to hospital now. Boom. But in the end, there was nothing to do. And then we had that long drive home and I was like in severe pain. That's why I couldn't watch that video. It's the first time I actually sat through that video in years because it was.
I've never seen that.
Feel it.
I know the story, but I've never actually. I didn't know. I can't wait to watch it now with music because you didn't play it.
Let me try and play it. We won't get. Yeah, it's our music.
Yeah, so well, you might get popped. Nathaniel Hannon, $50 you lunatic.
Oh
Dirk,
my God.
if you're never going to sell the Milgas, no, I will not. Every scratch will belong to you. This is true, and if you want it cleaned up, RSE will take care of that. If I can daily a gold speedy not care about scratches, you can make the milk. Yeah, said.
Good point. Very
excellent point. Excellent point.
And for that, I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you the biggest one we got. Where's the biggest one we got? It's this guy. That's the scariest thing ever. By the way, that show is absolute crap. I tried to watch it. That's the best thing in the show. That's
Which
scary.
show?
It's called what's the name of that show, Shane?
I think it's called
Fallout. It's very quirky and comedy. It's almost like the girl looks like Zoe Deschanel, and it should be her. And
is that the one that's based on a video game?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
The beginning of it is like, oh, I'm like, oh my god, I'm strapped in, I'm ready. Oh my god, oh, and then it just gets a little goofy.
I just checked the audio. It's awful.
Well, who gives a shit?
Hey, my brother had hair. Oh, shit. I can't look at it.
Ugh.
You see me pulling the patella back in?
Oh, you're grabbing it. I just saw it just now. You just fucking popped it.
Went back into caveman mode.
Oh, he's a fucking
Caveman
caveman.
mode.
No. Adrenaline's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And vodka.
Do they have liquid? Do they have a synthetic adrenaline?
And Vicodin.
Well, later, yeah.
I think they do. That's what they did in Pulp Fiction.
Well, I guess that's true. Right?
Yeah, when he stabs her
in the heart. Yeah.
in the heart.
Oh, man. I can feel it right now. Jesus Christ. Why was they playing trombone? I don't understand.
You should have been playing violin, right? Don't feel sorry for me. I'm a man. Look how skinny you are. Look at you male model. Look at the shape of your torso. It's crazy. Oh, Jesus.
We were all skinnier 16 years ago.
Oh, my
fellas.
God. I was a waif. Look at that.
What are you wearing there? The Omega?
No, I don't know what I had on. I don't know what.
Yeah, you had a watch. You had a watch on there.
I had a watch on. Isn't that weird?
It's a fossil.
Probably a piece of shit.
It looks metallic. Something.
Look at those pars. Oh my God, it's like the old school lighting and everything. Wow. Those things were the hottest lights in the world. Jesus.
Jesus.
Are you tuning it up?
That strap was terrible.
What did that bass play like, by the way?
It's almost the same as mine. The dude went and founded exactly the same bass from the same year.
Oh, he did. Wow.
Yeah, because we were on tour with them. They were called they're a big band. I can't remember the name of them. They're a big college band.
Like Dashboard Confessional or
one of those. I don't know.
One of those kind of.
Yeah. And they were great guys, and we did a whole thing with them, and he loved the bass tone, so he went and found one. And then we come back to Summerfest, and there they are playing after us. I'm like, hey, and he's like, dude, I got the same bass. And then he didn't realize he'd end up having to give it to me, you know.
Wow. This is you earning that gold sub.
Jesus Christ.
Is that kind of that doesn't look like a toaster pickup there, though. Looks like a.
Oh, yeah, it looks like a Geddy Lee, yeah.
It does. Oh, maybe not.
Fuck me. I needed a pick. Colin gave me a pick. Yeah, there we are. Straight into the middle eight.
Wow.
Fucked up me.
That sounds good.
I have to say something, though. Same fucking face. Skinnier bodies.
No, you look the same, essentially. You do. Listen. I could go back to pictures of us from 5 years ago and we look, you know. Yeah. Well, it depends on how much wine and great food there is.
Man.
We always talk about this all the time. Machine and I are always plus minus 20, you know.
Sure.
Just what you do, you know.
You know,
unless you're married to the gym.
Skinny again, I go on heroin, you know.
You should go on heroin. That's a great idea.
That's how you get, but at 50, that's how you get back to that body again.
Yeah. I'm reading that the Dave Grohl book, and because I read everybody's book, and he's a very, very good orator, and it's very well done. But this is before Taylor Hawkins died, and like, little did this guy have any idea that guy was still fucking using heroin. Fucking you sneaky cunt. Heroin is such a sneaky ass thing. People hide that shit.
Taylor was doing heroin.
That's where when he died, they found
Wow.
heroin in his system. He was using in the afternoon. He died the morning they had a show that night.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, in the Four Seasons Bogota.
Yeah, just gain a couple pounds. It's not worth
That
it.
guy, I mean, you look at him.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Gain a few pounds.
Yeah, just gain a few pounds.
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't care. It's all good. I have a number of shirts and jackets that will never fit me again, but I don't give a fuck. I'm happy. Fine.
Yeah.
All right. We should wrap it.
We've been going. We're like Tim Wright territory here.
Yeah.
He's been on since 5:00.
Jesus.
He's been on
That's
the whole time.
Is he still on? I should redirect the
Probably.
crowd over.
Let's go do. Yeah, you should reroute him, guys. I want to thank all the super chatters, starting with Andrew Wolkowicz, Easy E, JHB. Thank you so much, Mr. Bad Guys, Easy again, Nathaniel Hannon again, Ray, welcome home. We knew you weren't going to leave. Don't leave us. Travis Watts, Nathaniel Hannon, Ray again, JHB. You rule, man. Nathaniel Hannon, Alpha Foxtrot, and Ray again, and Nathaniel Hannon with the big giant contribution, and Ray again. You guys rule the world. Thanks, John. Thanks for coming on in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And let's keep us posted on all the stuff that you do and whatever you might get.
Absolutely.
All that amazing stuff. It's very exciting because we haven't talked about like what the next big thing is. So it's really delicious when somebody has decided that it's time for their next watch.
Yeah,
very exciting, because
you're in a golden moment now.
You're in a golden moment.
You sold the watch. You have money burning a hole in your pocket.
That's the best feeling. It's the power dynamic has shifted. I'm the buyer again. I love that.
The buyer
Absolutely
again.
beautiful.
You're going to be lying in bed later with the laptop just going through Corona 24 like a madman.
Let's not forget Andrew threw in a last $10. Great show. Upvote and subscribe, everyone. Be an inspiration in others' lives and a blessing in their memories. And for all that, I'm going to give you guys the biggest one I have, which is, of course, Lenny. Because Lenny's the greatest thing that we have here. Let me go find it for you. Where is Lenny? Lenny. There's so many of them now. God. Thank you, gang, for all that. And thanks to everybody who came on to the show. Thanks for supporting Who Needs a Drink and also the iBashers Friday Classic Bashers Live. Thanks to John. You guys rule the world. Guys, remember to hold the door open. Remember to say please and thank you. And remember, whenever you encounter unkindness, you never know what that person's going through. Something terrible might have happened to them. Either that or they're just a